as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. If you're here to receive the proclamation, come up to the dais, face the audience. We'll read the proclamation and we'll give you time to speak after we take a couple of photos. Okay, come up here. Don't be scared. City Manager, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Proclamation, National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Flagler County Emergency Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing the information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators for Flagler County have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, that the week of April 12th through 18th, 2026 be officially designated as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Signed the 7th day of April, 2026, Michael Norris, Mayor.
You want to take a picture, and then you can have the podium. Yes. Okay, ladies, the podium is yours.
Good evening. My name is Christina Mortimer. I am the Emergency Communications Director for Flagler County. With me this evening, I have Janice Cacavalli. She is the newly promoted Emergency Communications Manager for Flagler County. We are here on behalf of everybody within the Comm Center to say thank you for the recognition and proclamation. I also wanted to personally thank you because I know how much support we have from you for the trying to get dispatchers recognized as first responders. Although it wasn't successful this year, we'll keep fighting, but I wanted to thank you for all of your efforts. It means a lot to all of us. We, for those of you that don't know, our Comm Center dispatches for every single public safety agency within Flagler County. We, every police department, the sheriff's office, and all the fire departments. We are considered to be consolidated. We're all trained to handle all 911 as well as all of the non-emergency calls as well. Last year, we handled just over 50,000 911 calls in Flagler County and just under 90,000 for non-emergency. So they are busy. They're getting busier. We are staffed with 27 dispatchers that make sure that Comm Center is running 24 hours a day. So we're always there for anybody that needs us. Nobody ever expects to have to call 911. Emergencies happen when you least expect them. But all of our dispatchers are highly trained. They go through a lot of training to be able to handle any emergency that may come through that line. So I'm extremely proud of all the work that they do. I just recently was able to present some life-saving awards to some of our dispatchers that were able to provide CPR instructions. One in particular, one of our dispatchers just recently saved a 3-month-old when the parents called in, panicked. And that's something they're trained to do is when you're going through an emergency, like I said, you don't expect it. Your body's natural response is to go into that panic mode, and when you panic, it's hard to concentrate and it's hard to listen to us, but we're going to guide you through anything that you're going through, and we're going to be there for you, and that's exactly what Samantha was able to do to those parents that called us just recently. So extremely proud of that, proud of my entire team. And again, on behalf of all of us, thank you for this. It means a lot.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything quickly from the council? Go right ahead.
So I just wanted to say, how much I and us, we appreciate everything you guys do. Though officially you're not labeled as first responders, I think, you're an integral part of that and the only way that happens. In the broader discussion, you mentioned, that we went up and supported as a legislative priority, trying to get dispatchers labeled as first responders so that they could receive some other benefits. But also in the broader discussion of funding with the discussion of removal of ad valorem, currently as it stands, the state has said, we want to protect first responders, right? And make sure that fire and police are not defunded because of this ad valorem reduction. However, because dispatchers are not labeled as that, there's potential that they could be defunded. So I just want everybody to be aware that that's part of this larger talking point.
Vice Mayor?
Yes, I'll echo everything that Councilman Miller said as far as appreciation and recognizing those other effects that we may not think about in this broader discussion regarding ad valorem. I want to let you guys know that we're not giving up. We're going to keep fighting with you. We absolutely believe that you deserve that designation. And I've spoken to a lot of people who believe that on some scale you should be getting this. And so we're going to get there. It's going to happen. We just got to keep fighting. So thank you for everything that you and your team does. What you all do over there cannot be overstated. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything else from the council? Councilman Sullivan?
Yes, it's so important, the 9/11 call center, just about anything that's significant that's going to happen in the city and the county, if it has anything that could cause problems, is going to start there with the 9/11 operators. And if they don't handle it correctly, bad things could really happen. And so we appreciate them, and I ditto all the same comments you guys have made.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Councilman Gambaro.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies, thank you for your service and the service of your team. I had the opportunity, I echo all the words from my colleagues up here, and I had the opportunity to speak with State Representative Danny Alvarez, who's the chair of the Criminal Justice Subcommittee, and he said that the fight isn't over on this matter. So look for him to continue, and all of us here to continue to fight for this, because we believe it's the right thing to do. Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you, sir. Ladies, I really appreciate what you and all the people at the call center do. I'm married to a retired law enforcement officer, and I am a big fan of Live PD or On Patrol Live now. And I'm telling you, my hearing is very bad, but to be able to communicate to those officers and get them where they need to be, all the first responders, and save so many lives on a daily basis, I really appreciate it. And we can't say enough, we can't share enough appreciation for what you do in those call centers. So thank you very much. We're going to move on to the next proclamation, Water Conservation Month. City Manager? Let me see, the people coming, let's go, come on. These are all our guys here. Waterworks. Everybody chose gray today?
The weather.
Come on up, guys, come on up. We're going to take a picture before you speak. Face about. City Manager?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Proclamation, Water Conservation Month. Whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida, water management districts, and the city of Palm Coast are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the city of Palm Coast and the state of Florida have designated April, typically a dry month when water demands are most acute, Florida's Water Conservation Month, to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. And whereas the city of Palm Coast has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water and thus promote a healthy economy and community, and whereas efficient irrigation, design, programming, and maintenance can conserve water, the city of Palm Coast will encourage citizens and businesses to evaluate their irrigation systems for potential efficiency enhancements. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, that the month of April 2026 be officially designated as Water Conservation Month, and calls upon each citizen and business to help protect our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. Signed the 7th day of April 2026, Michael Norris, Mayor.
Brian? You're the big man. Get up here, we can take a picture. Close it in. Center.
Forward, you figure it out.
You got three to the right. No, that's even worse.
Thank you. Brian, the podium is yours.
All right. Thank you. The team put together just a few briefs here. Just, good evening to the mayor and the council members and members of the community. On behalf of the utility department, with about 165 folks, we'd like to sincerely thank you for the proclamation, recognize the importance of water conservation. Water conservation is not just about saving water, it's about protecting the environment and the resources of the future. We want to reduce the strain on the infrastructure. We want to be responsible for the resources that's been trusted to us to lead this utility. Every gallon conserved helps extend the life of a water supply system, reduces treatment and energy costs, and supports long-term resilience in our community. As the utility, we're committed to looking at efficient system operations, leak detection, infrastructure on a large-scale improvements, and public education like today. Well, also the small actions that communities and customers can take, such as fixing leaks, using water-efficient fixtures, and being mindful of irrigation can collectively make a significant impact for long-term resources. We appreciate the council's leadership in highlighting this important initiative and supporting policies and programs to promote sustainability and responsible water use.
Thank you, sir. Hold on a second, Brian. Brian, you and your guys hold up a second. Anything from the council? That way you're not sitting down when we're speaking to you. Anybody?
Just a few words. So obviously with everything going on with our utility for the capital improvement that we've invested in, water conservation is a huge part of that as well. So it's a very important topic. And, anything we can do at the city, to the residents, to help with that, let us know. And thank you guys for your work as well in this regard.
Thank you. Vice Mayor, anything?
Just really quickly, want to thank you and your team for everything. We know you got a lot going on right now, got a lot we've asked of you, so thank you for all of your efforts.
Council members, any other?
Just that water's so important and for the future of Palm Coast, and given by what we're going to put into our whole water programs of various types. So it's really important to do everything we can to make the system work best.
All right, thank you, sir. Councilman Gabriel, anything?
I just wanted to highlight, every time I've seen any of my neighbors or myself put in a work order to have something done and fixed, you guys and the team take care of it right away. You guys are the quiet professionals on day-to-day operations, and so thank you, and thanks for all the hard work that you're already doing as we look towards the future and improving our infrastructure here in the city. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. And most people don't know this, Brian, but I'm going to put it out there real quick for the general population is the technology has gotten so much better as far as leak detection in houses with slabs. Sometimes they can narrow it down to one tile in your house to fix a leak within your house, and it adds up over time. So if you suspect you have a leak, you need to check it and have someone come in, one of those very professional people that can detect those leaks and find it and eliminate the problem for you. And we have a different type of housing here because we're mostly built on slabs, and all the pipes are in the slab. The second thing is watering lawns. If you have St. Augustine grass, you don't have to water 2-3 times a week. St. Augustine is a very hardy grass, and there's no need in wasting city water to water your grass. It's going to come back. We're going to get rain. It may turn brown, but it's going to come back. But if you do water, hopefully you have a well system and you're not on city water, a metered system through the city. I would try to avoid that. So that's all I have. Anything else from you, Brian?
Irrigation meters, since you're on
Irrigation meters, yes.
So if you have irrigation but you don't have an irrigation meter, you can have one installed for, I believe, a small one-time fee, and then that reduces your wastewater amounts on your bill. So since we were talking about conserving and the costs.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.
Appreciate it.
We're going to move on. City Clerk, is the people for Parkinson's here? Are you going to accept it? Okay, come on up. Our next proclamation is Parkinson's Awareness Month. You guys beat the rain. Come on up to the dais and face the audience, please. We'll read the proclamation, take a couple of pictures, and then you can speak to the residents of Palm Coast. All right, here we go. City Manager, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Proclamation, Parkinson's Awareness Month. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic, progressive, neurological disease and is the second most common neurodegenerative disease in the United States, and whereas Parkinson's disease is estimated to affect approximately 1 million people in the United States, and the prevalence will more than double by 2040, and whereas Parkinson's disease is the 14th leading cause of death in the United States, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And whereas it is estimated that the economic burden of Parkinson's disease is at least $52 billion annually, including indirect cost to patients and family members of $29 billion. And whereas research suggests the cause of Parkinson's disease is a combination of genetic and environmental factors, but the exact cause and progression of the disease is still unknown. And whereas there is no objective test or biomarker for Parkinson's disease, and there is no cure or drug to slow or halt the progression of the disease. And whereas the symptoms of Parkinson's disease vary from person to person and can include tremors, slowness of movement and rigidity, difficulty with balance, swallowing, chewing, and speaking, cognitive impairment and dementia, mood disorders, and a variety of other non-motor symptoms. And whereas volunteers, researchers, caregivers, and medical professionals are working to improve the quality of life of persons living with Parkinson's disease and their families, and whereas increased research, education, and community support services, such as those provided by the Parkinson's Foundation and other organizations, are needed to find more effective treatments and to provide access to quality care to those living with the disease today. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, that the month of April 2026 be officially designated as Parkinson's Awareness Month, and calls upon all the citizens to raise awareness of the need for research and support for those in the community living with Parkinson's disease. Signed, the 7th day of April 2026, Michael Norris, Mayor.
Who's going to accept the one? Let's close in. We got a larger crowd. Yes, ma'am. We got them, Brittany. Okay, ladies, you can have the podium.
All right. It's weird looking at everybody up here. So first of all, thank you to everybody from the Parkinson's community for coming out here. Also, I wanted to thank City Council and the Mayor for having us and for recognizing April as Parkinson's Awareness Month. This proclamation is really important, but awareness alone is not enough anymore. You heard the statistics there. They're growing. Our Parkinson's or Flagler Palm Coast group was 5 people 4 years ago. Now we have about 50 people that come every month at the minimum. So the need is here. Parkinson's is not rare. It is here, it is in Palm Coast, it is in Flagler County. It is a progressive, relentless, and life-changing. Right now in our own community, too many people are facing it without care and support they desperately need. We have people in Palm Coast who are traveling hours to other cities while battling their tremors, stiffness, and exhaustion just to see a neurologist. They have to go to Gainesville, they have to go to Jacksonville, they have to go to Orlando. We only have 2 neurologists in Palm Coast, and right now the waiting list is over 9 months to see one. We have individuals who cannot access a movement disorder specialist, the experts that are trained to treat this complex disease, and we have residents who would benefit tremendously from adaptive exercise and sports programs here. Yet those programs here in Palm Coast are not available. We must do better. We need to do better here in Palm Coast. The truth is, exercise is not optional for people with Parkinson's disease. It is actually their medicine. It is the only thing proven that will slow the progression down. There is no cure for Parkinson's. Tonight, we're asking on behalf of every person living with Parkinson's in Palm Coast and their loved ones that we move beyond awareness and we get into action now. This is our 3rd year receiving this proclamation, and we appreciate it, but the need has only increased. We need more neurologists here in Palm Coast. We need a movement specialist. We do not have any movement specialists here in Palm Coast. We need to invest in adaptive fitness and wellness programs. Our nonprofit is paying for pickleball for Parkinson's at the Southern Rec Center. We're also doing speech therapy for people with Parkinson's. Community partnerships to ensure no one is left isolated without support is really important. Palm Coast can be a community that is not only recognized Parkinson's, but actively supports those living with it, and we can be a leader here. Let it be with the beginning of bringing neurologists here to Palm Coast, the beginning of bringing adaptive sports programs here to Palm Coast, and the beginning of ensuring that no one in our community faces Parkinson's alone. My father had Parkinson's disease. We went through it for many years, and the truth is one day it could be you or someone you love battling this disease. If anybody wants to contact me, they can contact me at 386-503-2239. If you or someone you love has Parkinson's, we have resources here for you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any words from the council?
I just wanted to say thank you all for shedding more light on this topic. I've got several family members that were diagnosed with Parkinson's as well, so it's touched, I think, as you mentioned, the growing stats, it's pretty much touched everybody in some way, so thank you for that.
Anything else?
Yes, just really quickly, thank you all for bringing awareness. I'm drafting an email to our government relations manager with Advent as we speak, because you're right, this is about doing something. The awareness should do something, and so hopefully we can get more resources here in Palm Coast and Flagler County. I know we're constantly looking for opportunities for that, so thank you from the bottom of my heart to try to make this issue better.
Thank you. Anyone else in the council?
Just the same, and I hope we're able to get a couple more neurologists in town.
Councilman Gambaro?
I just thank you for everything that you do.
Thank you guys so much. We're going to move on to our final proclamation. It's Fair Housing Month in Palm Coast. City Manager, I'm sorry, where are you at? There she is. All our guys, come on up. Jackie. All right, City Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Proclamation Fair Housing Month in Palm Coast. Whereas April 2026 marks the 58th anniversary of the Fair House Act, and whereas the United States government recognizes the month of April as Fair Housing Month to commemorate the Fair Housing Act of 1968, and whereas Fair Housing Month reminds us that the principle of fair housing is not only state and national law, but a fundamental human concept and entitlement for all people that inclusive, welcoming, and affordable communities promote diversity and a climate conducive to equitable and thriving development. And whereas City of Palm Coast supports housing opportunities that are inclusive, welcoming, and affordable communities that promote diversity and conducive to equitable and thriving development. And whereas the City of Palm Coast is committed to upholding the civil rights of all citizens through the City of Palm Coast Code of Ordinances, Chapter 17, which prohibits housing discrimination based on race, color, sex, religion, national origin, ancestry, disability, marital status, age, sexual orientation, gender, familial status, or the sale, in the sale or rental of housing. And whereas the City of Palm Coast, in collaborative partnership with Flagler County, the City of Bunnell, local housing resource agencies, and fair housing advocates will conduct a public education and outreach campaign to raise awareness of protections under city ordinance and promote fair and equitable housing within our communities by hosting a housing fair at Palm Coast Community Center on April 11, 2026 from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. for all Flagler County citizens. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Palm Coast, Florida, that the month of April be declared Fair Housing Month, Palm Coast, and urges all citizens to support the Housing Fair theme, Act in Action, and to promote the Community Development Block Grant Program, helping to assist citizens in eliminating neglected and dilapidated properties through the Housing Rehabilitation Program and promote home ownership through our first-time home buyers programs. Signed this 7th day of April, 2026, Michael Norris, Mayor.
Who's going to accept it, Jackie? Of course she will. Thank you, ma'am. Get everyone to close it in for a photo. Okay, the podium is yours, Miss Jackie. If you have a... Okay, Miss Valerie, where you at?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the City Council for acknowledging Fair Housing Month. As mentioned, on Saturday, we are having our housing fair from 10 to 2. At 12 o'clock, there's going to be a very important community conversation with Councilman Gambaro and Kim Carney, County Commissioner. So they're coming out, giving of their time, so we're hoping that residents will come out, bring their concerns, and help us to continue our journey on affordable housing. We have to keep doing that, and we have to keep making our citizens aware of all of the resources that are available, because I talk to people all day and they don't even know that we have all the resources. So they need to come out and we need to let them know about the resources that are available to them. So thank you very much and hope to see you all on Saturday.
Thank you, ma'am. Jackie, what year are we in on this, on the housing fair?
The housing fair is not just for people who are looking for housing or who own homes in Palm Coast. It's actually for the whole community. There are going to be a lot of speakers out there besides the community conversation where you're going to have free access to attorneys, free access to credit counseling, free access to credit reporting. You need to show up. I mean, honestly, this is going to be the biggest fair. We usually draw in about 300 to 500 people coming through that Saturday. Also, it's the opportunity for you to get free services and advice that you may not have access to. Who knows what a title policy is? Who knows how your title policy benefits you when you purchase a home? Or better yet, what is a deed? What is a trust? What's the difference between the two? Why should you invest in a Lady Bird deed when you're doing a mortgage? This is information we're going to be providing at the fair. So it's not just for people who are looking for a home or trying to purchase a home. It's for anybody in the community that has any questions about housing at all.
Okay, thank you, Ms. What I was asking was, how many years have we been doing this fair?
We've been doing it for the last 10 years.
Last 10 years, so we are on it. We're trying to make things happen for people in the community. Anything for the council?
Knowledge is power. Thank you, ladies, for all the information.
I know Councilman Gambaro, he sits on it. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just I want to say hello to my fellow teammates from the Affordable Housing Committee. thanks for your service and, giving of your time and just the brainstorming, the innovation that goes on of trying to figure out how to provide, affordable and attainable homes. I mean, the goal is to attain that home, right? And so thanks for your service. I did just want to say that the housing fair is at the community center. Just make sure everybody's clear on where the location is at. And we just want to have a conversation about, and I know Commissioner Carney and I are looking for input. Most importantly, we want it to be a conversation where if you have an idea on maybe how our community can tackle this problem, we want to know about it. And so please come to have a discussion. Lastly, I just wanted to thank this council. I know we've got some topics that we'll be discussing going forward. We'll be looking at options on what we can do as a council to make homes more affordable and attainable in our community, and just look forward to that discussion. But great to see you, team, and we'll see you on Saturday. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ladies. Okay. Now the gavel comes down. Welcome to the City of Palm Coast Business Meeting. Today is Tuesday, April 7th, 2026. It is approximately 6:02 p.m. We're in the John Netz Community Wing. I'm calling this meeting to order. If you could please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance and a short moment of silence. If you have any devices, please silence them at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you very much. Ms. Cook, please call the roll.
Mayor Norris.
Here.
Vice Mayor Pontieri.
Present?
Councilmember Gambaro.
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Councilmember Sullivan.
Present.
All members are present.
Thank you, ma'am. We're going to move, our first point of business is public participation. We're going to allot 30 minutes for this period.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Yes.
We did have a presentation that was after that last proclamation,
I don't have another one.
number 5.
Well, no, I have it on the agenda, but I don't have the proclamation.
Oh, no.
Presentation.
The city may change the presentation.
Oh, presentation, I'm sorry.
Well, it's before the public comment.
I'm sorry. We'll move into that first. I was seeing it as a proclamation. My bad. Let me catch up. We're at presentation 25-year ICMA recognition. Who is giving that? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is Dick Kelton. I'm here on behalf of the Florida City and County Management Association and the International City and County Management Association to recognize the City of Palm Coast for having 25 years since you were accredited by ICMA as a council manager city. ICMA started in 1908 in Staunton, Virginia, as the first city manager city in the country. Today, there are over 3,003 recognized council manager cities. In 1924, ICMA adopted its first code of ethics. That code of ethics has been updated periodically over the years. It applies to every manager who belongs to the organization. The organization now has over 13,000 members of city managers, assistant managers, county managers. The organization also established a credentialed manager program, which gave the managers option to attain accreditation based on their experience and their education. And part of that process includes a 360-degree evaluation where not only are they evaluated by their bosses, they're also evaluated by their employees. The Florida City and County Management Association tracks back to the 1940s. There are 411 cities in the state. Of that number, 70% are managed by professional managers. So with that said, this is a certificate of recognition from the Florida City and County Management Association. The association celebrates with the City of Palm Coast on the 25th anniversary of your city's recognition by the International City-County Management Association of its operation under the council manager form of government. Awarded April 7th, 2026, signed by Sarah Campbell, President of FCCMA and City Manager of the City of Frontage Beach. I'd like to present this to you, Mr. Mayor, on
Yes, sir.
the council.
Come on up, present it, and we'll take a picture.
I'd like Mr. Benny to come up as for part of that picture. And
Get all of it. Get everybody you want. Bring them on up.
Mr. Benny is the last remaining original council.
Really? Wow. Wow. Well, thank you, sir. Yeah, look at him. Come on. Get over. Put you in the middle.
All right.
Thank you, John. City Manager? I'm sorry about that. I thought it was a presentation. So with that said, we're going to move on to public participation. We will allot 30 minutes for this period. Please no defamatory comments. Keep your comments clear and concise, and you have 3 minutes. So if anyone has public comments. Yes, sir, Mr. Stansel.
Mr. Mayor, City Council members, and City Manager, I'm Mark Stansel, Seminole Woods. I've stood up here before, it's been a while, in reference to code enforcement. I used to sit on the code enforcement board, so I know how it works. But I bring it up now because just recently my neighbor had to have his air conditioner redone, and they took a couple of days to redo it all, and city inspector came out and made sure they did it right. And he ordered some netting, fencing to go around it because he didn't have any bushes there through Amazon. Now, we know how fast Amazon gets stuff to you. Before Amazon could get it there, 2 days later, there was a code enforcement thing on his garage saying he's in violation. Well, you know, he took care of it. But, you know, the sad thing is just down the same street, there's at least 8 or 9 exposed air conditioners that aren't covered by the code enforcement the way it's supposed to be. But yet nobody writes that up. And that's part of the problem that we have. Citizens, like when I ran for city council 2 years ago, the first thing was infrastructure. Everybody was concerned about that and overbuilding. But they also were concerned about code enforcement. They don't feel like the city is equal to everybody. You know, what kind of system? You have a city codes that, you know, are supposed to be for everybody, but yet they're singled out because somebody has to complain first rather than everybody be on an equal level. We need to redo, because our city's getting huge. We need to look at redoing and straightening up our code enforcement to where it's equal to everybody in the city. And that's all I have to say on it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Mr. Duarte.
Good evening. Let's start with basic transparency. The boiled water alert from January 2026 are missing from the city's websites. Please update those, all of them. Second, I am formally requesting that the March 17th, 2026 meeting minutes be corrected. They do not reflect what actually occurred at the end of the meeting when my rights were violated. The records matter because accuracy matters. Fact is, the current filing of vacancy language in Article 4, 7E, and the current election requirement in Article 7 do not confirm each other. They cannot be reconciled. This is the conflict mentioned. One allows appointment or succession. The other requires elections to return to seat for the voters to vote for. Both cannot be true at the same time. And yet the conflict is being ignored. Please stop blaming everything on what's coming down the pipeline. When something comes before this council for approval, you have two choices, yes or no. You are not controlled by anyone. You are accountable to the public. Now let's talk water. Last night I attended a City Academy class. I asked a direct question. How does the swell pilot program tie into the reused potable program? I was told that the next speaker would address that. That never happened. My question remains unanswered. This is not complicated. This is about transparency and accountability, and this is about whether the public is being fully informed. Because at the end of the day, the public deserves truth, not confusion. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else for public comment? Yes, sir.
Chris Nola. I'm a roasted council. I'd like to know what's going on. Like, they start a project, let's go just like Whiteview, for instance. They work on it. You don't see anybody for a month doing anything. Why is that? Is that who we hire? Or is that our own people doing it? Let's see, Whiteview and Whiteview and Ravenwood. They started. You haven't seen anybody work on it for 3 weeks already. Why is that? Why they started, then they don't finish? I see projects on Belterre right now. They start it, they move to another one. They just leave it go. They don't finish it. Finish one project, move to the other one so we can see something getting done in the city. Another thing, Rimfire. That's where kids go to school. They walk up and down the school there. They ride their bikes up and down there all the time. That is the only road, if you could, walkway that you could look at in this city that floods all the time. It's raining right now. Check it in 5 days from now. I guarantee it's still flooded in parts of that. The drainage is terrible. They need to do something about it. Another thing, e-bikes. Walk on the sidewalk. E-bike comes beside you. They don't beep a horn. They do nothing about it. I say something to somebody one day, well, a couple of times. The last time, I said, hey, at least blow your horn, say something that you're there. They brush right up against you. They're going so fast. Stops this thing. I'm going to pop you, man. I'm going to pop you. Do I have to start carrying a gun because someone's threatening to pop me when I'm just walking along there? That's ridiculous. You know, something needs done about this kind of stuff. I don't know what they could do, but something needs done. And what else? That's all for now. So that's just terrible that things like that happen with these young kids or even their little older kids riding these things. They have no respect for anybody. You know, I don't know if the police could do something about that, or I have to call the police, or like I said, I have to start carrying a gun. If someone's threatening me with a gun that it's gonna hit me for saying something to them. I didn't swear nothing. All I did was say, hey, blow your horn, say something. You don't just come right beside somebody doing 20 miles an hour. You know, that's terrible. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. If you could please leave your contact info with Ms. Kershaw. Ms. Kershaw, raise your hand, and we can follow up with you. She's right back there. Yes, Mr. Stone.
Not only myself, but I think the residents, a lot of our residents, feel it very disrespectful when the city attorney, Ms. Duffy, continues to badge Jeannie direct. running for city council, she has done a lot of major problems with this city and doing a lot of research. The water, the health issues, the traffic problems. They don't work. Nothing's worked in this city for years. And yet we've had tons of corrupted council people that could have or should have.
Keep going, Bruce. Reset the time. Thank you.
Could have or should have gone to jail. And then we have a certain council person that called the mayor a coward. Just for your information, that coward supposedly has multiple awards from the military, special projects for the military. And then we have all the council people in the history of this city have taken kickbacks. We have one councilman that sits on this council that has taken over $20,000 from people in the industry, the building industry, whether it be private contractors or builders. $20,000. And he bragged how he was clean. This city needs a total investigation by the state, a total investigation. And when I got involved with traffic, with getting down the safety devices, Mr. Pontier appeased our voters to take those traffic devices off the street. And yet that was named as one of the worst streets in Palm Coast. So now the people have nothing. It's just a joke. It's just a joke. And just so all you council people, present and future and past, when you take money from a developer and then you vote for a developer, that's considered a kickback. You want to vote for that developer, you're not supposed to cast a vote for him when they're doing a proposal to the city. And that's a sunshine law violation.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Stone. Yes, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and the rest of the council members. It's really an honor to be amongst you. The problem that
State your name for the record.
My name is John Gilliard.
Thank you, sir.
I've been living here in Palm Coast for 8 years now. I moved here to this young city, and I was completely impressed with it, and it's a wonderful city. But no one is perfect, and no city is perfect. I want to bring something to your attention that I think you gentlemen and ladies need to reconsider. Back in November of last year, you allowed commercial vehicles to be parked in driveways. You allow people to operate their personal business from their home with their vehicles in the driveway. That means their employees are showing up at their house and parking on their grass and then getting into their work vehicle and driving off to work. I think a lot of you already see something wrong with this picture. But when I bring it to certain individuals' attention, they say, well, you can park in the swell until after certain hours. Seriously? You need to look deeper. Look deeper, all right? What's happening here in the street, I don't know if my microphone's still on or not. What's happening here in the street is people are trying to drive down the street, but you got two vehicles of employees parked on the grass. So now the oncoming car has to give way to the other car. They can't get through at the same time. It's like the vehicle is on the grass, so you could make it through, but you might take off his mirror. Is he breaking any of your rules? No, he's not breaking a single one of your rules, so you're okay with it, all right? If you don't do anything about it, that's your choice. But I see something wrong with it. That's why states and the United States government has zoning rules. You have commercial zoned areas and residentially zoned areas. You cannot operate a business and have your employees come to your house in a residential area. That's a violation. That's a violation of the rules. But if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it for the time being. But I think you're taking away from the beauty of this city. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. If you could see Ms. Kershaw in the back and give her your information, and we can track that house down and check the business tax receipt, see if it's a legal business at all.
That's already been done. I was
Okay.
here, I did the legwork, and they said everything is legit.
We'll check it again. Contact Ms. Kershaw in the back. Yes, ma'am. First and last name, ma'am? You can pull the mic down to you, too. There you go.
It's more of a question that I want to ask. Before I moved from New York 7 years ago, I researched Palm Coast. I love the fact that it was incorporated, okay? Because coming from where I came from, this made a lot of sense to me. I am a rule follower. I follow the rules. I believe in the rules. I had a dog. Immediately, I licensed my dog, okay? She passed. At 65 now, getting older, my brother wanted me to have a little companion dog. Brought the dog down, not neutered. I was neutering him. He was too young to get clipped. It's going to cost you $5, okay? Great. I am protecting the safety of my dog. He's microchipped. He's got his rabies. He's contained. I love him. He's my family member. I made a phone call because I was curious. I was talking to someone, and no one likes to get laughed at. And no one on my block has their dogs licensed. And they said, "Why did you do that? Why did you license your dog?" I said, "You're supposed to here in Palm Coast." I did what was right. I feel good about it. They said, "Coming from New York, you listen and you license your dog?" Go in the mail. The license is now $25. Couldn't understand why, so I made a couple phone calls. Was I a little agitated? Yeah, because I'm told that now it's not for the safety of my dog. This is what I was told, and I like it clarified. Not for the safety of my dog. Everyone else is not doing it. I'm not going to name names. I ain't going to throw anybody under the bus. Nobody's licensing their dog. I look and we've got animals running around. Ty, you're on my block, actually. I gave you a call today, okay? And I tried to save a couple of those dogs, actually. They're not tagged. They're not licensed. They're not treated right. I'm not going to tell you I'm a big animal activist, but I don't understand then the increase to 25, and then I'm told that, some of it's going to go to the Humane Society, some of it's going to go to a SMART. I'd like to be able to. It's personal. I've had a difficult year financially. I would like to be able to, when I want to bring something to the Flagler Beach, society, I bring food, I bring things that I can for the dog. If it was smart and I could donate, I would like to donate what I can. But I don't feel that my little Chihuahua that's a puppy still, that got neutered and I pay for, that I am paying for other people that are not obeying this ordinance. And I feel that what's good for one is good for all, and I wanted to know if I got misinformation. Is it going to people's salaries? Is it going to paperwork? When you go to the Flagler Humane Society and you want to rescue a dog, especially as a senior, okay? So many dogs need homes, cats need homes, etc.
Okay, ma'am, your time has expired. We'll follow up, and you can give your contact info to Ms. Kershaw in the back, and we'll follow up with you. Yes, sir. Mr. Kunis.
Good evening, Gary Kunis, C-section. My question is, what have you done for us? Not the builders, us. Roads are deplorable, infrastructure is ignored, canals are ignored, passing a code to put the stitching plates on lawn cutters near the canals has never been done. Letting the concrete people cut concrete blocks and pavers to put that concrete dust in the air with silica that causes lung cancer. They should water it down. We've mentioned this before. Nothing's been done. It's a builder. They can get away with it. It's okay. Well, we want something, nothing happens. Why is that? There's 15,000 sewer caps in the city that leak water into the sewer system when you have heavy rains that floods the systems. You known about it. Carl's known about it. Nothing's been done. Maybe 3 have been replaced, 4 possibly. Okay? That lets the water in and it overtaxes the system. Nothing's done. Yet a builder comes running to you like ICI, oh, we got to change it. They have a contract. We're going to rewrite it saying you have 17,000 houses or 17 more houses. Okay? And then there's somebody from the city says, well, the water impairment from the water they're going to use and the sewage is impaired. It doesn't mean anything. It's 400,000 gallons more a year for those 17 houses. You need to calculate that. But you pushed it through. You knew this was going to open up the avenues for the other builders to push their thing through for the same reason. Or was this a plan you have in the back of your minds to allow to happen and create an avenue for them to do that? Lorenzo left us with 19,000 homes in the loop to be built. We don't have the water for it. We don't have the sewers for it. This is poor planning. 2 of you think you're going to move on to bigger and higher positions. Not going to happen. Okay? You employed it to move into the mayor's position and put a person of a contractor, a builder in your spot. Didn't happen. Your hatred towards the mayor is obvious every time you vote for something. It's so obvious. It's wrong. I personally believe she should all be arrested for imitating a person who has intelligence and integrity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? Yes, Mr. McDonald.
Evening, Council. Dennis McDonald. I'm reading in that there's an upcoming event here for the city as far as getting a new assistant city manager. And so I'm always interested in the money side of things. And so what I wanted to bring back around, because I know there's things that we all forget, a little bit of history here. There wasn't a chief of staff and there wasn't an assistant manager, my recollection, under Matt Morton. And Matt Morton was the last guy who was the city manager until we have the gentleman who's sitting here now, Mike. So with that in mind, all these years that we've gone from time that Mr. Morton left to present, we didn't have a chief. We had a chief of staff. We had an assistant this, an assistant that. All kinds of money was rolling out of here to the tune of $500,000. It just didn't make any sense, and it doesn't make any sense to the people that sit in the cheap seats back here. So I would like you to be aware of that, okay? These people didn't exist when Morton was here, and then all of a sudden they showed up when Bevan showed up, a woman who didn't want the job and told this council that she didn't want the job. And then, of course, Lauren Johnston, okay? Enough said on that. So what I wanted to leave you is with one thought, one fact, and certainly some of you, at least 2 of you, are very familiar, or 3 of you are very familiar with the federal government. If you're on the GS scale of the federal government, you get paid just a little less than $200,000. That's a 15-10. 15 steps, and there's 10 levels in each step. So unless you're a senior executive service, which takes an appointment, then you get paid more money, okay? But then you're an appointment, and so if some new president comes in, he can get rid of you. So if you're a true employee of the government, if you're a doctor, lawyer, rocket scientist, or any one of these entity or people, the jobs that they have in the government, you're paid under $200,000. So I see these numbers thrown around, not just for Palm Coast, but for other cities. And I see the guy who's our CFO come down and complain that we're all wasting money. But yet, the people that are at the top are making more money than the rocket scientists, the doctors, and the lawyers who work for the federal government at the top of the scale. Think about that. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Mr. Davis.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
My name is Jeremy Davis, and I live in the P section. It has been raining steadily today. Earlier this afternoon, I was outside clearing my culvert to make sure water could continue flowing through the drainage system in front of my home. The swell in front of my property is now nearly at road level. That condition is not unusual during sustained rainfall, but it highlights how dependent residents are on the drainage system functioning exactly as intended. One of the most important factors affecting drainage performance is elevation. That property next to mine sits 3 feet and 2 inches higher than my property. When rainfall occurs, water from higher ground naturally moves toward lower ground. That is not opinion, it is basic physics governed by gravity. Water also does not move only across the surface, it moves through the soil as well. In sandy soils as we have in Palm Coast, rainfall infiltrates the ground and continues migrating underground toward the lowest elevation until it reaches a drainage system or outlet. That means when one property sits significantly higher than another, both surface runoff and subsurface water movement will naturally move toward the lower property. Builders construct homes according to the elevations that are approved. So the key question is not about builders or neighbors. The key question is how those elevations are evaluated during the approval process. Stormwater systems are designed around slope, elevation, and downstream capacity. When elevations are altered, the way water moves through a neighborhood changes as well. Residents reviewing permit documentation sometimes see engineering notes acknowledging when grading changes can direct water toward neighboring properties. That means the city's own review process recognizes that elevation differences can influence drainage behavior. Residents also rely on those records being preserved so the public can understand how those decisions were evaluated. When documentation later appears incomplete or it is explained as a system glitch, it understandably raises concerns about transparency. Rainfall in Florida has not changed. The rain we received today is not unusual for this region. What has changed is the landscape. When land elevations are raised and grades are altered, the way water moves through a neighborhood changes as well. So when residents begin experiencing flooding where it did not occur before, the question is not whether it rained. The question is whether land alterations change where that water now goes, because water does not read permits. Water follows elevation. Homeowners should be able to trust that when elevation and grading decisions are approved, the downstream impacts on surrounding properties have been fully considered. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing no one come forward, I'll bring it back to the dais. Brittany, you have a public comment? City manager, you got any follow-ups?
No, sir, not this time.
Any other council? Anyone?
Oh, sorry, I was waiting to see if Councilman Miller. Oh, okay. Just on two, for Ms. Torrentino regarding the fee and people not paying for their animals, looks like she left. I'll look into how it is we audit that, because obviously we had to raise the fee because of our contract with the Humane Society, but we do need to make sure that a few are not paying for the many. So I'll look into that. Mr. Sansel, we are looking into unequal enforcement as we speak. I know there's some things being looked into. It just takes some time, but I'm happy to update you on that when I have more information. And then the gentleman who, I think Mr. Gilliard, parking commercial vehicles and that causing people to operate businesses out of their home. I had one of these in my neighborhood, and I do understand that this does happen. There sometimes are businesses that operate unlawfully out of their homes. We have asked code enforcement or planning and development, I quite candidly can't remember what department, but well, we asked for an audit. Remember to come back to see if if the allowance of parking commercial vehicles was causing other issues that we maybe did not anticipate. So they will be before us, I think pretty soon here, next month or two, to kind of give us an update on that. But as far as businesses operating out of the home, you know, some are allowed, some are not. So if that is causing some issues and it becomes more of a systemic issue that, you know, parking commercial vehicles is now causing this other issue that we didn't anticipate on a regular basis, then certainly that's something we'll look into. If it just is something at that one residence, we'll have to look to code to see if something is being violated. But certainly we are cognizant that the parking of commercial vehicles needs to be looked at, and that's why we asked staff to come back to us. And I think that'll be coming before us pretty soon.
Thank you, ma'am. Anything else from the council? Anyone? Okay. Oh, go right ahead.
Sorry, I just had to collect my thoughts. I believe we limited the, is my mic working?
One vehicle per house.
Yeah, one per person. So there shouldn't be situations where there's, say, 2 employees coming and taking 2 work vehicles out and leaving their vehicles in the swale, because there shouldn't be 2 work vehicles at that home. So if that's the case, then they're in violation of the ordinance. And then I did want to just speak on what Ms. Lori Tarantino was talking about in terms of the ask of what the fees pay for. Doesn't go to SMART or the Flagler Humane Society. It goes as a cost recovery fee for our code enforcement, in particular our animal officers. So it covers kind of that portion of the costs associated with if your dog gets loose and they catch the dog and they scan it for a chip and they return it back to your home, things like that. So I believe we have two plus 1 admin. So that's primarily where the fee has gone. And I've seen a lot of comments about, well, it's a huge increase. It's a $20 increase, but it's a huge in terms of percentage. The reason why is because that $5 was set when the city incorporated, and then since that it has never been updated. Nobody's ever thought to go back and say, hey, maybe we should change this to 10 and then to 15 and then to 20. So then there's this big shortfall when this council is seated and we say, well, we've got to make sure that we're paying the bills, right, to cover the services that we need in the city. With more people, there are more pets, so it costs more money to do that. So that's where that money is going, and that's why the increase, only because it has never been touched before in the last 25 years.
Thank you, sir. Anything else from the council? Ms. Kershaw, come up to the podium real quick.
And excuse me, Mr. Mayor, while she's doing that, can I have an alibi real quick?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Just to update on code enforcement, so I got some further information from staff. So each code enforcement officer is assigned to a zone. While we are complaint-based, they do have a work assignment. They're required to cover every street in their assigned zone twice per month. They do proactively write violations that they observe in their zone without receiving a complaint. However, we do appreciate anyone providing us info that we may need to research. As well, excuse me, boil notices are kept on the website for 2 months and then removed. And once they are updated as well after they've been rescinded. So that information should be accurate and on there. And as well, just a quick aside, Mr. Kelton, Dick Kelton, that did that presentation, was actually was our city's first city manager.
Really?
Yes, sir.
Wow. You should have let us know more about that. Did you know about that? Brittany, please explain the boil water. We had this conversation this morning. Yep. Explain how the boil water notices, because this is not something new. We're not reinventing the wheel. And I've worked in that position where I had to send out those notices and had to do all the follow-ups. So briefly explain how we go about taking care of specific areas that are affected by boil water notices and when they're rescinded.
Okay, sure. So when utility identifies an area and they need to issue a boil water notice, they actually go door to door. They put a door tag on every single home that's impacted by that break, or even if they're just flushing the lines, whatever the reason is, they'll put a door tag on each of the homes individually, and then the communications department will geofence those areas and will send an email. The email associated with your utility account when the boil notice is issued, and then also when it's rescinded. And then the utility department will actually go door to door again after the notice is rescinded, so that you know that you no longer need to boil your water.
Okay, so the big takeaway from this is we don't want flashing up on the city Facebook page or next door page, boil water notice in Palm Coast. We try to geofence it down to only the specific area, and those people are notified when it begins and when it's lifted, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And it typically impacts, 1 to 3 streets. It's not a whole section or a whole neighborhood. So rather than alert the entire community, we identify the specific homes and let them know.
Okay. All right, I just wanted to clarify that for our community residents. So does that answer your question on that, Ms. Duarte? Just the north or south or? Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Kershaw. One last thing, because I'm not going to go through some of this we've already covered. We'll have, city manager, if you can have someone check the drainage on Rimfire. And for the gentleman about the e-bikes, we wrote an ordinance, and enforcement may be a little bit of an issue, but if you can identify someone where they live and let us know so we can let the sheriff's department know, we'd appreciate that. As far as correcting the minutes, let's do that real quick. Are there any changes to the minutes we have minutes to approve from the March 17th business meeting? Are there any changes, any corrections for anyone? Oh, can we get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
We got a second. Okay, a little bit of discussion on that. I'm not sure how long you've lived in this city, Mr. Duarte, but in 2021, we had a special election for the mayor. And from our discussion when we're talking about the changes and the amendments to the charter, I specifically want it to be where if there's a vacant seat on the council, we have a special election for every seat, not just the mayor. But it is concrete in our charter, and it will remain so, that there will be a special election for the mayor. It was and I mentioned that when we had the discussion. It was 72 days from the time the vice mayor, Branchino, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He was the mayor, the vice mayor at the time. He declared the seat vacant the day after Melissa Holland resigned, and 72 days later, we had elected a new mayor. So that is concrete in our charter that there will never not be a special election for the mayor. And it's not going to change as far as this council is concerned unless I'm outvoted really bad. So just to clarify that, and we're not going to change anything. Your rights were not violated. You violated the policies and procedures of the council when you walk back up to the podium after surrendering your time, and you actually indicated I could throw you out if I wanted to when you left. So your rights were not violated. Anything else from the council? Okay, we got a motion to approve the minutes. We got a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? No opposed. We're moving on. We're moving on to item G, resolution 2026-XX, approving a work order for design services for Town Center Boulevard Widening. Who's the lead? Okay, just so we're clear, it seems like forever ago, but our request for that overpass from Old Kings Road on to Royal Palm or Town Center, that didn't even make a list for legislative monies. So it's all on us until the next cycle or we get federal monies or grant monies.
Yeah, we approved design for that larger project that we paid for, but we don't have. Sorry. We approved, from my memory, we approved design for that project so that we have it ready in case we can receive appropriations or grant money. But we don't have any of the money for the actual construction.
Okay, and if I'm not mistaken, for Miss Lauren Johnson, when we had the discussion and we presented our legislative days with the representatives when they were down at the county, the design alone for that area, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, it's like $6 million in design alone?
Correct.
Okay, so this is our attempt to fix the current situation without that funding, to some degree.
Well, it's a little bit beyond that work area. I mean, it starts at the junction. That project goes down Town Center Boulevard to Royal Palms, and one of the items that we're gonna discuss today is taking it from Royal Palms down to the Town Center Boulevard.
Okay.
And we have some maps and whatnot. We'll go through that because there's other issues on Town Center Boulevard with the new apartments going in, with the two-lane road at Imagine School in the backup, and all the development that's occurring in Town Center. So we're looking to continue improvements within Town Center. And that's what Sean here will present today.
And that choke point under that bridge, that's going to take major funding, local, state, everything to finally do that, because it's not going to be fixed unless we can widen up that distance under that bridge.
Yeah, we're still working through our initial stormwater calculations that potentially putting in box culverts, but this bridge that's there is not a clear span bridge, so there's piles and they're structural, and you only can get so close to them. So we're still evaluating whether we can even put in concrete box culverts and have some stormwater improvement. But the ultimate fix is to widen the bridge. Planning was able to negotiate and get some additional land on the northwest side of the overpass. So now we own lands adjacent to that, so we can widen the stormwater system through there, but the bridge needs to be widened for that to happen. Okay. So we've been working and meeting with FDOT on that particular issue, but it is a long-term initiative.
Does anyone remember what our ask was for that from the legislature?
Roughly 25 million.
25 million, okay. All right, Carl, just to set the table for you, so go right ahead.
All right, well, thank you, and good evening. My name is Sean Costello.
You're going to have to pull that mic closer and speak up, sir.
I apologize. I apologize. It's been a minute since I've done something like this, but so my name is Sean Costello. I am a traffic engineer for the city of Palm Coast, and today we're going to bring you forward with a proposal to make some improvements on Town Center Boulevard and in other areas within Town Center as well. So just a quick go through the agenda here real quick. So first we're going to share some concerns that are along Town Center Boulevard, share the potential roadway improvements that we would like to see moved forward, and then look at some short-term improvements in some other areas of concern that are along Town Center Boulevard, and then finally get a request for approval. So first things first, the reason why this came up was because we've had concerns and complaints of backup of traffic on Town Center Boulevard, mainly during the pickup and the drop-off times out there for Imagine School itself, and with the apartment complex that's coming online here shortly, that's just going to add to the negative impacts as well. In addition, we've received concerns, and I'm sure that we've all been through them ourselves, with congestion that occurs at the intersections of Royal Palms and Town Center, and at Old Kings Road and Town Center during the peak times, sometimes even during the off-peak times as well. So after looking at a bunch of different information out there, the agreement with the DRI folks, looking at the right-of-way that we have out there and performing intersection analysis ourselves, what we came up with was that the best, most efficient way to take care of everything would be to widen the roadway out there from 2 to 4 lanes, from north of Central Avenue to Royal Palms Parkway. At this time, there is no land that's required because the right-of-way is available on the west side of the roadway right now, and with the widening out there, we would also include turn lanes at any pertinent intersection that's out there as well. In addition to that, we would where this project would stop right now would be, and this would be the longer term solution, would be to design and install a roundabout at Royal Palms Parkway and Town Center. So that is the long-term solution. And it may require a little bit of right-of-way, but that will be known more once the design itself moves forward. In addition to that, we also, because of just upcoming construction and just more drivers that will be going through here in the future, we'd also, as part of this, look to update the two roundabouts that we have out there. So the one at Town Center and Central Avenue that you see on the right-hand side, and the other one at Central Avenue and Landing Boulevard. They're both just like, they're both older roundabouts, and with the way roundabouts now are designed, and they're much more focused on safety and operations. These aren't, these are two roundabouts that do need to be updated. This right here is a picture of the roundabout right now at US 1 and Matanzas. While the ones that we're looking at to update aren't going to look exactly like this, this is an example of what more modern roundabouts will look like. So as you can see at all the approaches, there's more of a chicane that forces traffic to slow down before entering a roundabout. And then we'd be looking at improving geometry to fit the actual traffic needs, and in addition to providing more striping and signage to improve guidance into and through our roundabouts that are out there right now.
Can I just ask a question about that? So
Absolutely.
When we're talking about improving geometry, is this going to be mostly a superficial fix with the stripings and the lanes and things like that, or will there be actual paving that's going on to change the actual roadway?
It's the goal is to actually make changes that that make sense to what's actually out there and how they function.
Gotcha. I just wasn't sure, kind of change the way a roundabout works with restriping, essentially.
We did that. If you go back a slide on the roundabout to the right, we did some striping modifications where we kind of reduced it on the north and south to one lane around the roundabout. So rather than build out curbing and do that, we did it with striping. So there's some enhancement there, but a better improvement would be doing some hard improvements, especially at the Landing one, because it goes from 2 lanes to 1 lane, and you may have a lot of traffic going to Landing, so we may make it like a dedicated right turn lane where it forces you to go right. You can't go through the roundabout and merge in the roundabout.
In current practice, because that intersection essentially goes nowhere except for that one building to the right, is you go straight through. Right. Obviously, we have to build it for future,
Right, we know with the development in the Target Plaza, I think one of the items is to extend that roadway when that development goes in. So we want to have a design on the roundabout ready to go, so we're not delaying, dealing with traffic for a longer period of time once that's online.
Thank you.
Since Councilman Miller stopped you, I have another question related to this.
You're good.
So I probably cross this or use this roundabout 30 times a week. I don't really encounter a lot of speed issues related to it. I don't know if other people do, and I only say that because, if we're talking about paving and doing actual construction rather than restriping, it's obviously going to be much more expensive. So I would just ask that if this is approved, we get some options from the engineers, so we have some alternatives, because I don't know when we're looking at, the design for this itself is pretty hefty. So the construction is not going to be cheap. So I would just ask that we have some alternatives presented so that when we're looking at the actual improvements we're going to go with, we can have funding options to accommodate different funding, because I don't know that is the most necessary thing that we need in these improvements at this time. And truly, I don't really, if we know the level of service on Town Center Boulevard is not going to drop below D, even with this apartment complex, which I think Fong at one point told us we are not anticipating it. Yeah, we're not anticipating it dropping below level of service D, then I don't know that the construction improvements to this roundabout are actually necessary, or the other one, to be quite honest with you. And if they are, whether or not they should be paid for with impact fees, whether or not there needs to be a loan to or from impact fees. I just want to be very cognizant of the monies we're spending on these projects when we know things are coming, but they're not quite there yet. I don't want to get behind the curve. But just making sure that we're putting monies in the right place based on current needs and the actual traffic conditions that we're experiencing.
Carl, Mr. Mayor, I've got a quick question.
Go ahead.
With regards to, I mean, the Vice Mayor brings up a good point. I mean, right now, the speeding may not necessarily be an issue, but when it opens up the 4 lanes, do you anticipate?
Speeding is not necessarily the biggest concern. It's more of the safety and accidents within the roundabout. Because if you come in during like when high school starts, and there's a lot of, I've known a couple coworkers here at the city that have been sideswiped in those roundabouts because people merge in the roundabout as they're going through it. But it could be something that we're going to look at. We have some limited land. We're going to look at what the ultimate fix should be, and we may have some interim phases as we progress with development. So we definitely will explore all options.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so at this point in time, we've put together a scope and fee with the company RS&H, who will be providing the design services for all the proposed improvements. So for the 4-laning of Town Center Boulevard and the roundabout at Town Center and Royal Palms, you're looking at approximately $537,000. And the roundabout improvements slash modernization, you're looking at just over $138,000 for the 2 roundabouts. So in total, you're looking at $675,000 for that work order.
So for the roundabout portion at Royal Palms, I was under the impression that that was part of the initial that we approved for Old Kings Face South 2A.
Correct. There's some overlap work. We're going to have CPH work on some alignment, and then we'll take that scope out of CPH and include it in this project.
Okay, so it will fall out of that contract and fall.
There'll be a
into this one.
transition.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I just wanted to make sure we're not doing this twice.
No. And these dollars are coming from the Town Center CRA fund, so that's where the funding for this would come from.
Just for the public, so essentially that's tax money paid in only by the town center, right? So it's not coming out of the pockets of anybody outside, right?
Right.
So,
Sorry, but I'm going to stop you. I'm sorry. The funding from the CRA, though, is limited. I mean, that's why we're getting a consultant to look at why the CRA is underfunded. Is there a reason why we're not leaning on impact fees for this?
We have, well, Town Center has impact fees as well. Those are tied up with the design of the remaining piece of Town Center Boulevard to Old Kings Road. So that's why there's just no impact fees in the Town Center CRA, because those impact fees collected for transportation per the amended DRI in 2018, those impact fees stay in Town Center. And the first project that it's used to fund construction of would be 4-laning of Royal Palms once it trips a certain count. Now, it can be used on a different project upon mutual agreement between, I believe it's the CDD and the city, but that there's just no money to do that. So we're using CRA funds. We had some dollars in the budget for improvements on Town Center Boulevard, whether it was going to be, we knew we had issues here and we put money in the budget, whether there's going to be some paving. We know paving's bad in Town Center. We know turn lanes is an issue. I mean, there's stopped cars on Town Center Boulevard. Something has to be done. We looked at multiple solutions on what's the best way to handle this. You know, that right away when it was platted and developed, those trees were planted to be median trees. So it was already planned a long time ago to be a divided 4-lane road. And to alleviate the stop traffic on Town Center Boulevard, it's really just going to that 4-lane design. And we've been having issues for years trying to work with Imagine School on car rider drop off and pick up, but the Lake Ave doesn't come all the way through yet. That would help alleviate some work because some of those improvements is going to be on Lake Avenue as well. And with all those houses and apartments online, we know the problem's just going to exponentially get worse.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I just feel like we're very limited as to what we can do with impact fees, whereas with the CRA monies, I feel like there's other things that we can use those on, specifically investing in economic development within Town Center. So
these would qualify for impact fees. Now, our general city's transportation impact fees, we have Old Kings Road widening Phase 2. Now, we did get a state appropriation for like 8.38 million, but there's still, in our latest estimates, about $6 million the city's gonna have to pay. So we have multiple projects to fund with impact fees, and there's just not enough impact fees to go around. So we're trying to.
Oh, imagine that. We don't have enough impact fees from the builders. I'm shocked. No, I get it. I understand that there's not enough money to go around. Just do me this favor if you could, okay? Get with John and make sure that we are utilizing CRA impact fees in the best manner possible to make sure we're helping Town Center thrive from an economic development standpoint while also providing for what we need with roads, because I know we can loan to and from the impact fee funds, right? So if we don't have the impact fees yet, but we know they're coming, for sure, as in other words, things are already coming out of the ground and we feel comfortable loaning, doing some interfund transfers, I would just ask that we just double check that, because I see the needs to invest in more things in Town Center other than just roads. It's important, obviously. This project is important. I'm glad we're doing this. I just want to make sure we're being as creative and thoughtful about how we're funding these things to ensure the overall prosperity of Town Center.
We will definitely do that. And if we can shift dollars around like you're talking about and reimburse the CRA fund with impact fees, we will definitely do that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So now there were other concerns that had come up. One of them was, first was the intersection of Town Center and Royal Palms.
Can I jump in real quick?
Yeah.
And I'm sure it's probably similar to the rest of us on this council. This has been one of the biggest, this corner, Royal Palms and Town Center has been one of the biggest complaints that we receive consistently, especially with that new development going up there on the left side of Royal Palms as you approach Town Center. So everybody listening tonight to the council meeting, this is us. We hear you. This is our team engaging with the solution as we look to a broader solution for this area. So,
thank you.
What do you guys?
So this intersection right now currently is a stop controlled intersection, but it's only partially stopped on the Royal Palm side. As anybody that has been through there, especially coming off of Royal Palms, trying to make a left onto Town Center, you're experiencing significant delays. We were able to go out there and confirm everything. And as you can see here, that southbound left there in the morning and the afternoon, especially during its heaviest times, it's close to 300 seconds per vehicle with queue lengths that at the longest, which is normally in the morning, on average is about 400 feet. Again, that's the average, and in the afternoon, it's about 260 feet. So what we did was that we looked at different things that we can do, and at least for the time being, for a short-term improvement, would be to install stop signs at all the approaches. As you can see here, in the morning and in the afternoon, there is a significant reduction in the delay and the queue lengths for those two movements. Well, actually, for that movement, and we made sure that the other movements would still operate in a satisfactory manner. Sorry. And so those improvements would include installing 3 new flashing stop signs at that intersection. So 2 on Town Center Boulevard and 1 on the Royal Palm side, installing new stop bars for Town Center, installing warning signs for each approach, and updating the crosswalks that are out there right now.
So there's currently a crosswalk across Town Center, right there?
Yes.
Where there currently is no stop sign?
Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully this will improve that, because that's part of that trail system that goes out east and comes from all the way out west. So, and I know you're about to move on to the next slide. Thank you for this. I know we've been asking for it, and we need a change to this intersection, at least temporarily, until we can get the funding for all of this all the way up Old Kings. But part of my concern, though, is you said that adding the stop sign in the westbound lane of Town Center is not going to significantly cause any backup or anything like that. My only concern is getting into that light on Old Kings. You know, how far back some of this will queue during the very peak and heavy times.
Oh, that's the next part.
All right, let's take a look at it.
Yeah.
Well, here's another quick question, Carl. You have at least two coming off of Royal Palm and turning right or going straight on Town Center. Usually four-way stops are one-lane roads, correct? How is this going to work with a stop sign? You got two vehicles queued up side by side, one's going left, one's going right. How is that going to work?
We have that at, Mr. Mayor, at over the toll bridge. They widened that, so you've got 4 lanes now in each direction.
You're correct that the more typical approach is we just have one lane coming in, but it's not uncommon where you have multi-lane.
Well, we have people that have problems traversing a four-way stop to begin with, much less a roundabout. Roundabouts is like a foreign object to Americans.
And that's why we are looking to install flashing stop signs, you know, so that
There's going to be a learning curve.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there will be. Yeah, there will be. And we
Just so everybody knows, there's going to be a learning curve.
And we will install message boards as well, you know, just to let folks know, like, hey, this, you know, this has changed, you know, so please pay attention, you know, so.
I think what Sean's going to get to on the next page and what you were alluding to was putting 3 stop signs here removes the backup on Royal Palms, but it just moves on to Town Center Boulevard at the Old Kings Road light. So this is really a 2-part fix. You can't just put stop signs here because then you're just shifting the problem. So there's also improvements necessary at the Old Kings Road, Town Center Boulevard intersection, which Sean's going to get into.
Okay.
So now currently we're looking at Town Center and Old Kings Road. As of right now, it's a signalized intersection without turn lanes. The eastbound and the northbound approaches during the peak hours, you see significant delays. Mainly the eastbound experiences more significant delays in the morning, while the northbound side experiences significant delays out there as well. And you can see that in the numbers for the morning in the eastbound. You've got over 60 seconds of wait and over 400 feet of queue on average. In the northbound, you've got the high delays at over 80 seconds per vehicle, and the average is about is just over 200 vehicles. But if you have ever been out there and you get stuck, it will back up all the way to where the road shrinks from the 4-lane down to the 2-lane, and that's about 500 feet from that point, and it's pretty consistent like that. So the proposed improvement, which is again short-term, but will work, is to convert the signal to a multi-way. As you can see, the delays and the queues overall, they do drop. There is a little bit of an increase in the delay for the morning, for the eastbound in the morning, but that's mainly just due to the fact that you're getting rid of that choke point at Royal Palms, and so you're letting more vehicles get through. And then, as you can see, for the northbound folks, in the morning and in the afternoon, they will experience significantly less delays and queuing as well.
I I have a question on this. Are we going to do any kind of quality control or, testing to see how this new pattern is working? Because the increase in the seconds for the eastbound delay in the morning concerns me, not really cutting down too much on the amount of feet. So I just want to make sure that, obviously we always have models and things like that, and we base what we're doing off of those. But is there any way to just check this, do a check-in to make sure that it's actually improving the patterns, other than, your anecdotal, hey, I get caught here every time,
Yeah, I mean, we do our field visits, afterwards, after it's done, but we also run simulation as well, just to make sure that at least whatever improvement, that we put out there, like we try to make sure that at least that it has a chance at working, at being successful.
And for clarity for our residents, this will still be a traffic light, it's just going to be a red flashing traffic light.
Yes, it will be.
Got it, okay.
So do your eastbound numbers here for the proposed improvement take into account the increased traffic flow coming off of Royal Palms now that there'll be a three-way stop there?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does. That's why you're seeing the increase in the delay a little bit, but then
because now
you're
you
also
have more
seeing
vehicles getting out of Royal Palms.
Exactly.
And then the other thing, it's not mentioned here, but again, we were talking about the westbound coming up to that Royal Palms three-way stop. There's no danger of that queuing back far enough to hold up the line or anything back at the first stop at Old Kings. Okay.
No, because fortunately, the amount of westbound lefts at Royal Palms is actually relatively low. So the folks that are making the right turn onto Royal Palms from Town Center,
they're exiting the traffic pattern faster.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's this extra turn lane.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay. So
One more quick one. Wait, go to that slide. You can go to that slide, please. Okay. Question, Carl. Going back in time. I hate to do it, but why were these issues not addressed before they approved all those housing projects out there, the new apartments? Why wasn't this done, fixed, before that was ever allowed to happen? Because we've got hundreds of houses, townhouses, the one on the east side of 95, just north of Town Center. Just north of, Town Center.
I can't speak to the exact specifics, but on those larger projects, they do have traffic studies that are evaluated. Either they didn't trip it to a low enough level of service, because our adopted level of service is level D. So unless it tripped it, then it wouldn't have required them to do any offsite improvements.
Okay, as far as impact fees are concerned, did we collect from those projects when they were approved, when they came online? Are they paying a justifiable amount of impact fees to make this happen?
Right now, we are collecting impact fees in Town Center, and they stay here. This ultimate improvement, 4-laning the roadway here and then 4-laning it under the bridge to Royal Palms, is all going to be 100% fully designed with a new signal. Actually, Sean put in this signal back when he was here the first time. In 2015. This was a temporary fix at that time that was installed using those impact fee dollars. But yes, we are collecting money to do these improvements. Okay. Phase 2A, which takes us north to the Hidden Lakes entrance, the second one, is going to be the next phase to go to construction as part of the Old Kings Road Special Assessment District. They have some dollars, but again, there's not enough construction dollars to build all those improvements.
Well, there's the Old Kings Road special. They're still paying back the money that we lent the first time around. Right.
When they pay impact fees, they pay back the amount due, and then any extra impact fees stay within that fund, that district. So we do have some dollars in there, and that's what's helping funding the current design. But getting over the canal at that bridge is a costly item of that next portion of construction.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating to know that those houses and all those units are going in, and these improvements were not taken into consideration or done before. We're like catching up. We're playing from behind. We're playing from behind in this game. So, okay.
And just for the public's knowledge, that one that's being built right now is Live Local, so we had literally no say over that. Thank you, Tallahassee.
Yeah, but it's still.
No, it is, I know.
Okay.
You're spot on, Mr. Mayor. This is just another check for this council of things that we're having to correct as we move forward.
Yes, sir.
So the improvements here would include replacing the signal head with red ball flashers, installing 3 new flashing stop signs. So again, that's for enhanced visibility. It would require removing the pedestrian signal heads because it's not going to be an active traffic signal for traffic control. 3 new warning signs for stop ahead and updating the crosswalk and the stop bars that are out there.
And where are we at for 4-laning in that area?
We're in the early stages of design.
Okay.
I have a question, again, in regards to the crosswalk and this trail system, because this is fairly heavily migrated. Do we have counts for pedestrian and bicycle traffic here? And is it just going to be a crosswalk, i.e., I step in and they have to stop versus like a flashing signalized crosswalk or something like that?
Yes, it will be just a
normal.
Yeah,
I worry because this is part of this trail system that is heavily used, and this intersection is a busy one. There's always traffic there, as you showed, with your times and everything. So I just worry that if we don't have some sort of upgraded system there at that crosswalk, that there's potential here for an accident between someone walking or biking across this area.
Yeah.
Have we considered the pedestrian crossing like we have down at Lanier Park at that intersection? They hit a button when they get ready to cross, so it flashes to say, okay, pedestrians are crossing, hold up.
I looked at that, and unfortunately, the MUTCD and the Florida Green Book, it doesn't allow for that at a 4-way stop.
Okay. All
So
right.
if there wasn't a stop sign there, then
What about at a 3-way
So
stop?
if it was just
Touche.
through traffic, then you could put the flashing stop
Yeah.
like it is at Linear Park, where
Yeah.
you're just continuing through.
Okay, when we get it 4-laned, possibly, because there's going to be a break, right?
Yeah, we're looking at this intersection. We're analyzing either a roundabout or a signalized intersection, so that's being studied currently. So this is just an interim fix until the ultimate improvements are done, but that hasn't been finalized yet.
I just want to make sure that we're not putting anybody in further danger. I know it fixes the cars, but then does it make it harder for the foot traffic?
Just about any time I'm coming out of Town Center going that way, I see someone on that trail, coming or going, just about every time.
And
Okay,
that's-
gentlemen.
And that's something that we'll keep an eye on, and if there's any further improvements that we can make, we'll make it out there to improve pedestrian safety out there as well. So, what was being asked earlier, we try to do simulation, just to make sure that whatever we do has a chance at being successful. This one right here, hopefully you guys can see it, but this is a 10-minute section. This is a 10-minute run of this area at its heaviest time. I ran it at a very fast speed, so that way it would fit into a 1-minute block. So, let's see. And it's sped up really fast, so you'll see it here. You'll see that the Royal Palms side, it doesn't experience the significant delays or backup, and then over at Old Kings Road on the Town Center side, you're not seeing the backups either.
How long did it take you to do that?
Well,
No, I'm
fortunately,
just-
no. Well,
Give it
fortunately,
video
with
game.
fortunately, with about 20 years of experience of doing this, it didn't take me that long. So, yeah. So this is for the morning. Now go to the next one. Sorry. For the morning, and this is for the afternoon. Again, you'll see that Royal Palms is not going to back up significantly, and the northbound folks over at Old Kings, they're not going to experience the same level of backup or a delay that they experience now.
Is this simulation taking into consideration the population growth in those apartments and townhouses?
No.
Is that our current numbers?
Yeah, it's at our current numbers, and I mean, our current numbers right now are pretty hefty, but just based off of what the proposed traffic, this will be able to handle it better than the current setup that we have right now.
Yeah, I mean, based on this, if this is peak, then
Yes.
this seems reasonable. If this is an accurate representation of what, our traffic looks like under this new system.
Yeah.
At most, in the morning, it looked like there was some backup on Old Kings, but nothing more than what the current light.
Yeah, they'll
exists
clear.
at.
Yeah, they'll clear. So the cost for the short-term improvements, so in total, you're looking at installing about 6 new flashing stop signs at about $7,000, about $800 for new warning signs, and the replacement heads are about $3,000 for, I believe there's 6 of them that are up there right now. And then for striping placement and refreshing of all of the striping material and tools, you're just over $3,600 for that. So finally, we're looking at a request for approval. My request is for a contract with RSNH for the $675,000 for the 4-laning. For the 4-laning, for the design of the 4-laning from Central Avenue to Royal Palms, the new roundabout at Royal Palms and Town Center, and modernization plans for the roundabouts, for the 2 existing roundabouts that are in Town Center right now. And the short-term improvements in total comes out to just under $15,000 for those. Any questions?
Any questions from the council?
Mr. Mayor, move approval of the resolution to approve the work order for design service for Town Center Boulevard Widening and those short-term fixes as well.
Second.
All right, we got a second from the vice mayor. You know what I miss from San Antonio? The byways. They had all the roads running parallel to the interstate. I miss that, because if you saw a traffic jam, you could get off and, well, Florida. Yes, it's a Texas thing. Florida didn't think that way.
And they're 80 miles an hour with stop signs on them.
Yeah, when they built the interstate, I'm assuming Old Kings Road was there before, but quite a distance away, you couldn't see the traffic like you can in San Antonio. All right, we got a motion to approve. We got a second by the vice mayor. Any further discussion from the city council? We're going to open it up for public comment. Come on up here, traffic guy. What you got? We're trying to fix it.
Mark Stansel, Seminole Woods. The modernization of the town center interchange, circle, It's already been designed and built for 4 lanes. You don't need to do anything to it except restripe it. And as far as the other one, you know, it's not overly used yet. So the city doesn't need to spend money that it doesn't need to. You know, the other projects, you know, those are dire need, you know, 4 lanes from that all the way up. But you don't have to spend anything on that roundabout because it's already been designed and built for 4 lanes. Look at this. Look at the pictures.
Yeah. No, that's not what we're doing. We're restriping. It's not a redesign on that. It's just striping.
From where I was sitting at, I wasn't clear what the remodernization was.
Yeah.
If it's just striping, then that's fine.
Okay.
But you don't need to do anything because it's 4 lanes already.
Yeah. Anyone else for public comment? Mr. Webb, you don't have anything to say tonight? No, I've closed public comments.
You just couldn't resist.
Mark Webb, Palm Coast. Council, I came before you earlier and suggested a roundabout in that intersection, and actually had Mr. Miller kind of laugh and go, our citizens don't really like roundabouts because they don't know how to behave in a roundabout. I use this as an example. When you are headed toward this building and you go through that first roundabout past Publix, you go from a 2-lane in either direction to a roundabout onto a 1-lane road with no guidance. And every single time I come here to enjoy the pleasure of this council, I watch people to my left and right trying to decide which one's going to get into the right lane to go straight through because nobody's turning to the right. So the clarification and the effort is applause. I appreciate it. We're trying to fix a problem that we perceive, but we are at a point where we need to ask ourselves, what is the problem? What is the cost? And what is the long-term solution? Running through models like this and those kind of things. We all know the problem with Old Kings is 95 and we can't widen it and the canal's right next to it. I've been hearing that from Carl for 5-6 years. So we're putting Band-Aid. We're spending $600,000 of money, people we do not have, nor will we have, nor will the state, nor will the federal government. So we need to minimize the impact, train our citizens, find a way to reduce traffic. And as a side note, to answer your question, Mayor, most cities that I came from had mandatory project requirements that every developer would have to partner to fix before their development was approved, which would answer the question of you having the problem there with thousands of homes coming into a bottleneck that we couldn't fix. So we need to think forward. We need to believe that when we have developers come in, like the concrete plant, knowing that it's going to be put on a road that isn't going to be sustainable, that they come up and know that part of the conversation they need to partner with, understanding to fix the problem that they're going to provide. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? I unleash beast.
No one had a comment before you said something.
What you got, Mr. Amaral?
For what you asked for. Tony Amaral, Palm Coast. Just for clarification, the 600, so does that mean we're going to implement the temporary or the quick solutions shortly? And what time frame is that looking at to get that proposed? And then what's the time frame after that to maybe look into other things? Obviously, money's going to be an issue and to build the roundabouts and all that stuff, but I'm just curious as to what that time frame looks like to implement the short-term solutions, and then what the studies and all that, how long roughly that will be. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can you answer that, Carl, for the short terms?
So the short-term solution is all going to be dependent on lead time for the materials and stuff. So unless everything falls apart, we're probably looking at about 4 to 8 weeks to get all the stop signs and striping and the signals and stuff, and then you're looking at scheduling the guys and stuff. So I would expect anywhere from an 8 to 12-week time frame, realistically.
We're going to handle the short-term fixes in-house, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any way we could can we do this non-peak hours, overnight, something like that, that doesn't impact, obviously, there's a lot of traffic there during the day, so.
Yeah, that's something that, that we would have to coordinate with our public works guys on it.
And then the design is, what, 9 months or so for design. We do have the construction identified in our 5-year CRA budget, but again, that's all dependent on impact fees and, when those dollars will be there, or if we use some of the CRA dollars. So that's really going to be up to council, to set priority on how we fund it and when.
Okay. We're closing public comment. We brought it back to the dais just so everyone knows. Anything else from the council?
Yeah, would you mind addressing Mr. Stansel's comment about this previously being designed as a 4-lane and necessity for this new design versus restriping? Would you just address that for us?
It's going to be a mix. The roundabout will more than likely have some hard improvements with some striping improvements as well. One of the things we heard from the sheriff with the existing striping, the one that's at Landing, they can't enforce it because it doesn't comply with MUTCD standards. That's why we restriped the other one at the other roundabout. So we do have to do some improvements no matter what. It's just where the short term is going to be, what's the long term going to be. There'll be a lot of right turners once Landing goes through to Target. So, we want to accommodate that 2 to 1 lane movement. So more than likely on that movement, there probably will be some hard improvements there. Because going from 2 lane to 1 in the merging in the roundabout is just a poor design.
Carl, when is that punching through on Landing? Is it part of? It's not part of the 3 new commercial buildings on that side, is it?
I mean, planning may be able to speak to it, but my understanding was those impact fees from that development were going to be used to have that road punch through. But they could speak for certain about that.
Yeah, I had a question on that too. Is there any rezoning or land use amendments or anything that have to go into that development, or can they start without coming before council or going to staff with any types of amendments like that?
I'm going to phone a friend. I don't know if John has those answers.
We're talking about the commercial
Yeah.
piece with Barnes & Noble and all that.
Well, and I asked because if they do need anything like that, I mean, getting a punch through as a part of that, MPD, or I don't know if that's going to be necessary, but those types of things should always kind of be thought about when we're looking at improvements that we know we're going to need.
As my understanding, that's part of the discussion. That's what I've heard. So.
And one last question for me, Carl. All the potholes out on Town Center coming in, all the potholes, whose funds are responsible for that? Where do the funds come from for repaving and patching those?
We in our streets improvement fund, we have some funds for guardrail cabinets and filling potholes. We do have some maintenance dollars in our CA budget to do some striping and minor roadway work like that in the CRA budget as well.
Okay. They seem to be getting worse, and there's more and more of them out there. And that's coming into the center of the city where the city hall is, where all the activity. It's just not a good look to have a pothole-filled road coming into your...
They're like 15 years old now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's...
Okay. Anything else from the council? Ms. Cook, call the vote.
Vice Mayor Pontieri?
Yes.
Councilmember Gambaro?
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Norris?
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We're moving on to G8, resolution approval of the guaranteed maximum price GMP contract amendment from Construction Service Engineering Services and a project contingency for the Wastewater Treatment Plant Facility No. 1 electrical upgrades. Brian, come on up here.
No presentation today, but to give a brief update what this is. Total amount is $6.4 million. It's really two different vendors we're working with. It's for the Wharton Smith has the CMAR project, the construction manager at risk, which is the most amount of money. I'll go through about 4 or 5 bullets here. And CPH is the engineer who's been designing the project. It's for wastewater plant 1, the large one. It's that plant has had significant modifications last in '94 and '06. So this is really working on the electrical equipment of the existing area. You know, this is our large plant that's going to be expanded with 4 MGD in the neighborhood of a 160, 180 million type number. But this is really first step of replacing some electrical work in the existing plant, and that electrical equipment will be able to coordinate with the new expansion. It's a series, this we're calling GMP1. It's a series of contracts that will be coming with the construction manager at risk. This is, the next one's gonna be $1.2 million currently estimated for site work. And GMP3, which will come later this summer, is the large one, over $150 million. So that's the construction side of the equation. On the engineering side, CPH finished a preliminary design report in October 2024. That was right short of $1 million. Then they did the engineering design of the new plant of about $5 million. But this is for them additional engineering fees and service during construction. For service during construction, excuse me, let me go back. They've already been paid for the design of this electrical equipment. This is for service during construction of the electrical equipment, and that's the 400 and what's the number there? 420 or 440 bucks, $430,000. And so overall, it's budgeted under one CIP line item, engineering, construction, and there's a $250,000 project contingency. And I wrote myself a cheat sheet table. If I had it over again, I probably would have put this in tabular form versus paragraph form. So the next time I'll do that, it has multiple vendors on one request. So here to answer any questions and go through any details on this.
This is all capital improvement. You just mentioned that, right?
Yes.
And that's coming from the bond we're getting ready to take out?
A few hours ago, right? Right, Helena? We had a successful day with the bond, and Helena could update the explicit details, but that bond got priced today, fully subscribed at over 6.8 times. Interest rates were favorable, but any more detail, we'll let Helena get through the detail of that if you like it.
Give me a north-south if it was a better rate than initial, Helena. You can just give me a north-south. Either yes or no.
That's a loaded question, Mayor.
We worked hard on this one.
You've been busy for like the last 2 weeks doing this, right?
Yes, Helena Alves, Finance Director. Yes, we have been very, very busy with the bond issue. So your January presentation, the all-in interest rate was 4.44, and we came in at 4.45. So pretty much right on target. That's what we're considering a pretty successful day, given all the recent events, being able to meet the projection from January.
And the original budget was like 4.8, right? The original.
Yes, the feasibility study accounted for 4.85. That is correct.
Came in a little bit low. Any other questions from the council?
I have a couple, just high level. Brian, can you please explain what this will do to improve our system?
Strictly wastewater plant 1 down in a utility drive. This specific work we're doing now is all electrical work, new generator, 1,000 kW generator, new switch panels, controls, switches. So it'd been nice if it was done a couple years earlier when you got 30-year-old electrical equipment. So this will support during emergency operations. It's going to take 16 months to get it fully operational. Certainly we'll be running fast to try to get in the following hurricane season. That's what this is. Overall, this is the first step of that massive wastewater treatment plant, which will be expansion, 4 MGD. The new 4 MGD is going to be operating at 3 milligrams per liter nitrogen. I think it's 5531. One of phosphorus, 5 of total suspended solids and BODs. Significantly better than the existing plant on that site. More in line, the new plant we have out on PV grade is closer to those advanced wastewater treatment numbers.
Okay. And on page 96, there was a summary of costs where it says, quote, fee, and it's a little over $400,000. Is that the contractor's profit? What is that specifically?
Construction management risk design build has gotten, in the industry, has moved a lot this way the last decade. So what usually these contract managers do is have general conditions, and there's a line item above that for about $911,000, and that is to put people on site to watch the construction, the superintendents, the project engineers, the trailers, all that. And then they have that, and then usually add bonds and insurance. But the last one they do is a fee, and that fee was negotiated 15, 18 months ago, whenever this contract really was. 9% fee is a revenue for Wharton Smith, the contractor, and how they take that revenue and spread their costs underneath, and how they do their profits is, kind of from their work and their financials, but it's a revenue for them. I believe commercial construction usually has a fee a little bit less than industrial. And what we're doing is we're looking at the 90% estimates coming in the next 2 months, and we're going to bring some more resources to scrutinize that to make sure we understand. Like, there's some general conditions in this that will be overlapping for a few months at least of the new one, so we'll make sure we're not double counting and work with them that.
Okay, so for clarity, their sole profit is that fee line item, right? Or is there another
I'm going to take my
profit
engineer
working?
hat on, I'm going to put my accountant hat on, but I won't put my lawyer hat on, okay? So
Okay.
you got that one. That's a revenue for them. So if that revenue, this is $471,000, they take their revenue, then this is not direct costs of this project that goes to their headquarters in Sanford, Orlando, wherever it is. They pay for the buildings, they pay for their expenses, and their overhead and IT, how they do it at the end. I believe contractors are making a nice profit the last 5-10 years with all the growth in Florida, but that's the revenue with other projects around the state or country or southeast where they work. I think they work in Texas too a lot, and they have that, and there's a net income or profit after that.
That's fine. it's a lot of money, but I just want to make sure, for some contracts, they have different revenue points in kind of hidden in different line items. It doesn't appear that's the case here, but this is a pretty hefty contract. So I just
And a lot of contractors, you have to pay a bond, and some big, large national contractors, I think you worked with one decade, they'll have their own bond and insurance companies, so they're getting a piece of that. The general conditions, they try to make that effective. There's overhead on that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things really on the large one, we're going to come back in and bring some other resources to look at that. But
okay, scrutinize. Thank you.
all right.
I got a quick.
Go right ahead.
Maybe to the Vice Mayor's question, this is common practice for a guaranteed maximum price contract.
Yes.
Right? And Vice Mayor, I struggled with this when we were on the school board. We did the extension on Buddy Taylor and the addition to Bunnell. I wanted to understand what those were, because at the time there was a massive overrun on Matanzas when they were building the high school. So really important question to ask, but it's either that or we go a different route, which could be a different animal that we have to deal with. But okay, Brian, thanks for your leadership on this project. Appreciate it.
A lot of work. The team's got a lot of work the next 3 years, and Carl does some of this, and there's a different fee on different buildings on the fire stations and the lock.
Any other questions from the council? Can we get
Mr. Mayor, move approval of the resolution, the approval of the guaranteed maximum price contract amendment for construction services, engineering services, and project contingency for the wastewater treatment plant 1 electrical upgrades.
Second.
Ditto. We got a first and a second. Any further discussion from the council? We'll open this up for public comment. Seeing no one come forward, we'll close public comment. Any further discussion from the council? Marcus looking at me like, Mayor knows what he's talking about. Ms. Cook, call a vote.
Councilmember Gambaro,
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pontieri,
Yes.
Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you. We're moving on to consent agenda. Does anyone have any issues with the consent agenda items? I have one, but I can wait until everyone else. Anyone have any issues?
We just have a moment, Mayor. The only one, Mayor, if I may, the debris, and this is just for clarification, and as we get into hurricane season every year, it tends to be a discussion. The debris removal contract, I just want to commend Matt Mansell on making sure we have some teeth to this contract to the fullest extent possible, in that we had I don't know if you all remember, but a couple of years ago, we had issues with the timeliness or lack thereof of our debris removal haulers, because we weren't essentially paying them as much as other municipalities or counties to come in and clean up debris from the hurricanes. When we renewed that contract, I believe last year, we added some teeth to kind of put some requirements on them to retrieve debris within a certain amount of time. That renewal is maintained in the current renewals. So thank you, Matt, for making sure that that's being done.
Anyone else? Anything? Consent agenda? My issue is the comprehensive compensation and benefits survey with Evergreen Solutions, LLC. What's
H10, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, H10. Can you tell me, can you find the page number? Because I'm having a hard time scrolling through all this.
It's 230.
230? Okay. So what's the justification for this, city manager?
I believe it was actually an established priority by the city council, sir.
Part of our SAP.
Okay.
Part of the,
Well, I kind of have an issue. What's the total amount? Because I'm not there yet. What's the total amount of that contract? I remember
24,000. No.
24 was already paid, or
Stand by one, we have staff coming up.
Hi there, Lisa Lynch from the Human Resources Office. The total amount for that is $54,500. The evaluation team chose Evergreen Solutions, LLC, and there were 7 companies, including Evergreen, that bid on this process. And if you need to have further information about who those companies are, what the amounts were, and the time frame behind getting the study done, I have those available.
no? It's not necessarily the contracts or any of that. It's more why are we doing this and why can't we do it internally? How many master's degree holders do we have in HR, and how many people are SHRM certified? Because I don't, and I'm not even SHRM certified, but I know I could go through, if I were an HR director, I could go through and pretty much do this myself. And, there's a lot of issues. I have issues with some of our pay and benefits, and we're going to be discussing this at the end. But why can't we do this in-house? Why are we paying an outside firm the equivalent of someone's gross annual salary to do a study that we should be capable of doing in-house?
I believe that was direction that the council did give staff at the time.
We asked the staff to reach out to a contractor to do a study on
To go through an RFP process, sir.
Yeah, but I believe it was to compare the city compared to other local municipalities to see where the city racks up against them on pay and compensation and packages of something like that.
I personally don't think that we should be farming this out. Like I just asked, how many people with graduate level degrees work in HR?
Well, we have 6 employees currently in our HR department. I do not have the background on how this came about. It sounds like there was some prior conversations to this. I'm not disputing that this cannot be done internally. It certainly is. Currently, DeLand is actually conducting their own salary survey using internal staff. New Smyrna Beach just finished one with Evergreen in early 2026. And the city of Edgewater is currently in the middle of a survey using Evergreen. New Smyrna Beach Utilities did one using salary.com, and that study cost $99. Currently, the city of Largo is also using internal staff for their study as well. So it is definitely something that can be done internally. It's all public record. So if that is a different direction that you want to go in.
Well, I don't think so much for the benefits part, but for the salary, I personally think that some of our salaries are inflated. That so much so that we just posted a job for the deputy city manager job starting at, I think, 175 up to like 210. No, we need to scale that. To me personally, that's on the city manager, but we need to scale back because right now, our human resources alone in this city, and it's nothing on you. I'm not attacking you. I'm just putting out information. Our salary and staff alone, not counting the sheriff's department, our salaries and staff alone are over $55 million. That is a lot of money for a city this size, for even a company of 600 or so, 630 employees. So I would ask if we can get consensus from the council to table this and have the human resources department, who are educated to do these things, do that, because I don't want to go do an outside firm and say they're going to come back and say you're not paying your people enough. BS. We're paying our people more than enough.
So, Mayor, I have a question for you, because I don't disagree with you that this can probably be done internally. I think the reason we were going external was to kind of make sure we're not asking the fox to guard the hen house.
Yeah,
So
I agree. I think there's a conflict of interest there potentially, right?
now, whether or not they need to be paid $54,000 for it could be a different, a different topic of conversation. I'm happy to table it to get more information and to kind of look at, you just gave some great examples of those who are doing it internally versus those that are using Evergreen. What I don't want is, I think up here we've all been advocating for as much transparency as possible. And what I don't want is for a study to come back internally and for the result to be that, hey, actually we're not paying our people comparable or competitive salaries. Or maybe we are in some places but not in others. And the response to be, well, you guys did that internally, so there's a conflict of interest. Because now we've had staff use time and energy and resources to come, to not deliver something that our residents trust. So, I'm happy to table it. I think that we need to maybe see what staff hours would be in order to do a cost analysis. And maybe we go back to Evergreen and say, hey, look, there was some apprehension as far as paying $54,000. Can we maybe relook at the contract price and see if we can get them a little lower? Do we know what they've paid those other cities? It should be public record.
I can request it.
Maybe we look at that too.
You'd have my support as well, Mr. Mayor, to table this and keep talking about it.
Okay, so where we're going to table, and this is going to come up later in our next, when we get into city council comments.
Can I have a timeout? So it sounds like you guys want to pull this from the consent agenda.
Yes.
So maybe we should start with that and then go about tabling all.
Okay, can I get a motion to pull this from?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda with this item pulled from the consent agenda.
Good enough for you, Marcus?
Second.
We got a second from Councilman Miller.
Just one discussion point. We did put this out for bid, and I'm looking at the different companies involved. If there's going to be any price adjustment, do we have to rebid this thing in order to make that happen? Because it wasn't public bid.
By tabling it, we're just holding the contract.
I know, but I guess what I'm saying is, based on what the vice mayor just asked, right? Maybe we can talk to Evergreen and see if there's an adjustment, but would that force us to rebid this thing in order to look for a lower amount?
Scope would change.
That's what I was just going to say.
Possibly it could change. It depends. It's the negotiation that we could have. If we go back to Evergreen and they say no, you go to the next person and it might just have to rebid. My question was going to be, Ms. Lynch, how long is this process have you guys spent on this so far?
I do not have an exact answer for how much time we've spent on that, but I would say it between writing the scope, posting it, having the team review all of the bids that come in, it is a substantial amount of time already spent on it.
But this isn't like an urgent matter. If we don't fix it now, I just don't feel comfortable in it, and because I know that we have graduate level people in our human resources department that can do it. Now, as far as the conflict of interest, we can look, but I'd feel more comfortable having further discussion on this and trying to.
Mr. Mayor, I'd also like to know we all sit here and approve the different SAPs and priorities and things of that nature. Can we specifically get the meeting that this council gave the guidance to move forward with this?
Yeah, did this council give that guidance?
Yeah, no, you definitely did. I was at that meeting, you guys.
I think we did, but I just want to know
the context of that
let's-
conversation.
So what I would recommend is that first, we're still on consent because you guys decided to pull this, and the motion is to approve this consent agenda. So I would say let's talk about that first, have that public comment, and we can come back to this topic.
Okay, we got a motion to approve the consent agenda minus this one. We got a second. We'll open it up for public comment. You just step aside for just a minute, please. Do we have any public comments concerning the consent agenda? Minus the compensation and benefits. Seeing no one come forward, we'll bring it back to the dais. Any further discussion on any other consent agenda items? Ms. Cook, call to vote.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pontieri,
Yes.
Councilmember Gambaro,
Yes.
Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, so we have it tabled, and,
Do we want to table to a date? Yeah, we don't have it tabled.
okay.
We didn't approve.
Can we? We need a motion. A motion to table this specific item.
I'll make a motion to table this to the next business meeting, special set.
Thank you, ma'am.
Second.
We got a second by Councilman Sullivan. Further discussion. Now, we need to send it back to HR. Come back up. Because I personally think I'm not so much concerned with conflict of interest, really. But I do think we should be able to do this in-house. This is not one of those things that I would want to farm out, and you know, and I wish Mrs. Fuller was here.
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.
I've received some comment from Mrs. Fuller that yes, we can do it in-house if council would like that direction. That just has not been the previous direction given by council.
Okay, I can't believe we said let's farm it out.
That's why I want to confirm.
We said farm
If
it out?
If we
Yeah,
decide-
because I will tell you, I can't give you specific, but I remember a conversation, you did not want to have it inside because you wanted a total objective view from it. You were afraid that public perception, you were afraid that there could be some insight, so you wanted an objective view, someone outside the city looking at it.
And I still worry about that, honestly, because if it comes back, hey, we're 4% behind, well, they're just telling you that because they want a pay increase, right?
That was kind of what happened.
Potential
in my
response could be.
experience At the county, when I think we had Evergreen maybe do it. But I'll tell you what, it did involve increasing a lot of salaries.
Yeah. Well, I don't think we're going to have that issue.
I do think Mr. Berrio might have something to add.
Yes, sir. Good evening, Mayor. Kyle Berryhill, Interim Deputy City Manager. Just a couple of quick items. One is it's very important. This was a part of our strategic action planning process. We're going through that process actively right now. So as we do that, we would just really like that council bring forth all the things that we're talking about, and then we'll come together and talk about finding that direction for ourselves going forward, so that we can, execute the vision of this council. And then second, I would just say that whether we do this in-house, not in-house, or don't do it, doing it in-house is not free. There's a definite cost associated with that. We've already spent time, effort, and energy on it. That doesn't mean that we can't stop today. It's just to mean that the cost is different than the cost that you see today for this. Definitely the bid process. This was the second lowest bid out of 7. I think within $6,000 or $7,000 of the lowest bid. And I don't have every reason why the team picked this over that, but just for you to know, that's the case. And then it does show some things on the agenda item about some encumbered dollars. That just means that we earmarked these dollars for this. We haven't spent $1 on this project yet.
Okay. Yeah, I saw
of that kind of money, even though we've spent a lot of our time, effort, and energy. So that's a type of dollar that we have spent already.
Yeah, I had seen something about some of it coming from the city manager's contingency fund or something like that. Yeah.
May I make a suggestion then? If when we come back in 2 weeks at the next business meeting, can we have a projection of staff time so that we can compare that in-house cost essentially to what a contractor would cost? Because if we see that there's, a nominal difference, then having that objective analysis may be worth that nominal difference. I don't know what it'll look like, but I think we have to do that in order to compare apples to apples.
Yeah, I think that's a bit of a high price for something like that. So.
Well, and I think, if you could, ensure
I
we have
support
the
that,
comparison.
Vice Mayor.
The comparison of what, thank you, for what Evergreen is being paid by other localities too. I think you said Largo was one of them. I think that's a pretty comparable city, actually, so.
Largo is actually doing their own
Is it
internal
internal?
study.
Okay.
But we do have New Smyrna Beach that utilized Evergreen, and the city of Edgewater is currently.
Oh, Edgewater's comparable to us.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we should get a pretty good estimation.
And who was the one that used some specialty, it was really cheap? What was that?
That was New Smyrna Beach just did one with utilities, their utilities department, and they used a company called, a website, I guess, salary.com.
Yeah.
And that cost $99.
Yeah, like Glassdoor does that. You can
Yes.
go into Glassdoor and say, you know,
Yes.
Human Resources Manager in the state of Florida.
Yes.
And it'll give you you know, so there's different programs. So if we can get and be prepared to discuss the scope.
So I would, because it's not clear to me, I would make it clear to staff what exactly you want them to come back with,
Yeah.
present to you in 2 weeks.
So,
Projection of staff time
Yes.
versus a contractor, right? That's the first
Yep.
thing.
Comparison to,
And the comparison of what the other cities have paid and what they've received from Evergreen.
Yes.
Okay.
And
we need
how-
to make sure we have comparable scope.
Yeah.
yeah, so for instance, Edgewater's like 25,000 people, so I don't know if that's,
Yeah, we're probably one of the
the
largest.
number of positions they have, FTEs is probably, yeah, it's a small
Oh,
town.
I thought they were closer to us. Maybe
Edgewater?
Yeah, Edgewater's a small.
If you think about it, all these towns that are south of us are actually much smaller than us. They're just
Can't see
all
that.
running up against each other, so it seems like you're in this, like Daytona is really 7 different
Maybe that's
cities.
what I'm thinking
you
of.
know.
Well, I was way off then.
So,
Yeah.
Can I add the specific meeting that we approved moving forward with this process? Because, you know, if it was a 5-0 vote on moving forward with this as part of our staff priorities, and we're going to undo something that all 5 of us agreed to do.
Yeah.
It's an ask of the clerk. Kaylee, if you can get that for us and just maybe circulate it to council, the meeting, so that we can look at the minutes and listen if we want.
So to
thank you.
recap council's ask, you want us to check in to see, estimate how much staff time it would take for us to do this internally. You want us to do comparisons on what other cities have spent on this type of a study, comparable cities. And then you'd like us to find the meeting where we gave that, where council gave direction for us to go to a consultant for this process.
Yes, sir.
Good copy.
That was probably a lifetime ago. I was elected last November. It feels like a lifetime. 7 lifetimes.
Feels like it,
feels
huh?
like a lifetime, so.
So are we straight?
Still got to go to public comment.
Oh, do we have to make a motion?
You already made the motion.
Okay, public comment? Anyone? Miss Denise Henry.
I know I haven't been here a while. Denise Henry, P section. I think this could be done in-house and not have the effect of saying, you know, that, you know, worried about whether it's not going to be a fair assumption, because every data they pull to do this can be verified through research. So I think that is something that can be done in-house without it, you know, somebody saying there's a conflict of interest, because you can have that, you know, citations to look it up if you want to.
Yes, ma'am. And I would agree, because HR professionals, they have an ethic, a code of ethics too. Any further public comment? Yes, sir.
Mark Stansel. It seems if you have confidence in your HR people, then there shouldn't be a conflict. If you trust them, then you'll get good results. But if you don't trust them, then go outside. It's a matter of trust. If you trust that they're capable and can do a good job, then they should do it and save the city some money.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? Seeing no one come forward, we'll bring it back to the dais. Any further discussion from council?
I have one thing.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to address that kind of, you know, that conversation. I have full trust in our HR. It's more about not putting them as a target for the public's distrust, so to speak. I don't want the public to question the motives of their internal determination is really what it is. I trust HR to do the right thing and do this well.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any further discussion? Anybody else? So, Ms. Cook, call to vote.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pontieri,
Yes?
Councilmember Gambaro,
Yes.
Councilmember Sullivan,
Yes.
Mayor Norris.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimously.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Where are you going? We ain't done yet. Okay, we're going to move on to our final public participation. Anybody have any final public participation comments? Seeing no one come forward? I did.
Mark Webb, Palm Coast. So I wanted to come tonight because I want to give the city manager and his staff accolades on finally putting, excuse me, packets available for citizens on a phenomenal app website. So as some of you know, I've come up here for years, have been asking about how do you guys share the information in front of you that you have an extended period of time to review and discuss and show. And I knew along I could request through the city an access. But because sadly I'm not going to be able to run for president because I am dyslexic, it's helpful to have that data available so that we can see that and have a much better informational. And I share that daily with the citizens through the app to let our citizens know what you know. Because that is really the transparency and goal that we all have to make sure that people come up and have sound, knowledgeable participation. So I want to extend a thank you. I know that's important that in public we praise. And if you're a military officer, you know how that goes. When you're behind closed doors, typically it doesn't go the right way. So thank you for that, City Manager.
Thank you, sir, for that comment. And that's definitely this talented team, much more so than the city manager. But thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Any further public comment? Seeing no one come forward, we'll bring it back to the dais. We're going to move on to city council matters not on the agenda. City council members? Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. As we look at what this council's vision is of economic development, I think we all agree that, and we've heard from our staff that sites, land and buildings are a problem. We're starting to shape what we want it to look like and ensure that it's compatible with the zoning and businesses that have been here for a long time. But I think we as we go through the SAP priorities discussion, I think it's important that we kind of set the table on and clearly define what that looks like going forward, because I think it'll inform the types of business that apply to come here under certain zoning. And I think a part of the way of doing that is, and for our viewers at home, if you come to a meeting or you watch it on TV and we adjourn and meet as the CRA, we are the board of that CRA, okay? And I think so part of the funds that we discussed tonight with Carl, with in regards to the, what we were looking at with the road and things of that nature, are funds that are brought in from the CRA and how that helps inform our decisions and where we place those dollars. Our current CRA sunsets in 2034. So I think, and there's a process to do that if we want to extend it. But right now we're kind of race against the clock to bring in the investment opportunities that are important for our community as we define them and what our vision is. Going forward, but I think we need to have a conversation as the board of that CRA on what do we need to extend it? Do we need to redefine the boundaries of that CRA? Town center is one thing. The CDD for town center is its own entity, but for the CRA proper, if we say, hey, these are the kinds of businesses that we want coming in to the city of Palm Coast, these are the locations we would like to for it to potentially be in. Have those conversations with those landowners, expand the authority of the CRA to encompass some of that. So it provides us another tool in the toolkit to be able to drive economic development. And so, and I think we can do that either independently, have a separate meeting, I don't know, maybe as part of our SAP discussion. I'm sure John could probably recommend a way forward on this. But I think we're missing an opportunity to drive economic development with an important tool that we have at our fingertips. And we are the board for it. And I think, deciding whether or not it's going to sunset in 2034, but as we set priorities for the city, I think we should also set priorities and goals for the CRA, drive the change for economic development using this tool. So anyways, just open to, just want to hear what you guys might think about this tool that we have and whether or not something that we want to potentially set the table for this year so we can have this going forward.
Anybody got any comments?
You have my consent to have this discussion and try to figure out what we need to do in terms of meeting to set those priorities. I do think, obviously things have changed from when it was established to now. And then, the other part is, we do have certain land and we need to, I think to your point, guide certain businesses to certain locations because what it leads to is incompatible applications that then become, a big public spectacle, so to speak, when, we're trying to figure out where some of these businesses should be and they're not compatible with lands because they've chosen one place or another. So I think having clear guidelines or a plan of action or a goal, a set of goals would help inform everybody, the businesses, staff, us, on what the public, on what the expectations of the CRA are. So I agree.
So what are you looking for, Councilman Gambaro? Just to have a further discussion because I've already talked to John and that initial study that we kind of punted on, trying to scale that down to make it more cost effective. But historically, looking at what has been accomplished with that CRA, it's not much. It's very underperformed.
Well, we don't really know why, Mayor, to your point. Yeah. And I think that's what that study was getting to, but, we talked about it when it was a part of the meeting, but I also had conversations. I think that, included in that study was a service that we should largely be leaning on our property appraiser for in the fact that, we don't know if all the properties that should be included are included. We don't know if proper taxes and fees have been collected appropriately. So I just wanted to make sure, and I think council wanted to make sure we were not paying for services that tax dollars are already paying for, and that certain hours that were projected in there for studies and presentations and things that you would normally have when you're dealing with the public at large that you're not dealing with here were included, and that wasn't a bloated contract amount. So from the city manager, when was that coming back before us? To look at that reduced scope, do we know?
Yeah, because that was my comments to John. If we could scope it down, and he was talking about the cost of social engagement and stakeholder engagement and all that. If we could scope it down and make it more palatable, seeing as how we're dealing with something that's not been very successful throughout, what, 2 decades? How long?
Yeah,
2 decades?
almost.
So I guess you all had that.
Yeah, we all had it.
Right.
I have one comment, and I may be just totally way off on this. I don't think there is that as much land as you might think available in Town Center. A lot of this land has been spoken for, and there are plans for it. So I think that's another aspect of this, to find out really what parts are really available beyond now. And I think we have to go to the back to the people, who are selling this land off and making deals. I think it's a lot less than we might think.
Well, maybe since it's coming back on the 14th, we have a more robust discussion about the CRA at that time, to your point, Councilman Gambaro.
Yeah, I just think it's worth talking about. As, again, another tool and toolkit. We are the board for the CIA, and although we might get all sorts of different information coming back to us, it's upon this board to set the priorities, align goals and maybe engage certain landowners to maybe include them. I mean, there's only so much land, right? But if they're not in the CRA, could they be? And then could we use that authority to leverage it? And if we commit to doing that, then we're like, well, then maybe we need to expand it so it gives us more time to properly engage. So we had a robust discussion last week, and I thought about it quite a bit. And I just think it's important for us as we set priorities and goals for the city as a city council. I think we should probably concurrently do that as the board for the CRA and focus on it.
And if we should extend it beyond its termination date.
Correct.
Expand.
Yeah, but I mean, it's I don't know if we've had the focus that we've maybe should have had, and so let's just focus on it. And if there's an opportunity for us to move forward, I think it's worth reviewing. And if we agree as a board and as a council, let's get after it.
And I think John's presentation, and John's committed to making it work the way it should be. And we can discuss it further. If that's all you're looking for, you good?
Come out and join us at the housing fair on Saturday, and just look forward to ideas and other input, and seeing if we can. I know we've got some ideas that we're looking at, but I know there's more out there and more opportunities to drive affordable and attainable housing. It's a national issue. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Anything else from the council? Yes, sir.
I just wanted to.
Don't you talk about no Florida?
Oh, I got to get to that anyways. But for actual business, the city and the schools experienced an outage of service due to a line being cut for the fiber, and anecdotally, this has also affected residents in different neighborhoods when someone's building, doing whatever, have cut lines for whatever service providers are in those neighborhoods, and so that results in people being out of internet for a day or two, sometimes, and so. There should be some level of enforcement. So just asking for consent for the city attorney to kind of research what we have in terms of ordinances now, in terms of requirements for digging and, potentially fines or something of that nature if you put something out of.
Because we lost a lot of man hours because of that.
Yeah, it affected us, but I mean, even in the homes, right, and even residences, one, everything's streaming, right? Two, people work from home now a lot, so it puts people out of work essentially for a day or two. And at the bottom line, it's inconvenience when it could be avoided. Now, I'm not saying there's not going to be an accident every now and then. That happens, but anecdotally, from what I see, is people aren't calling to get the survey done, and they're digging and they're hitting lines, and I want to try to prevent that to the best of our ability.
So you're asking for consensus to have the attorney research what we can do to punish those people that do that.
I am already working on it. We are limited in what we're allowed to do, but staff and I have been working the last couple of months to try to, implement a new process or see if there's a better process out there for us to use.
Okay, thank you, sir. Anything else from the council?
Well, I do have to finish that. We had the council NCAA bracket. Councilman Sullivan was the winner. Big winner.
Naturally.
Yeah. I never doubted it for a second, actually.
He's the tallest person on the council. He should know basketball.
So just wanted to mention that. So, Mr. Sullivan, whenever we said that we would all throw in $50 and then we donate it to charity of your choice. So
yeah, and I can the charity of my choice would be the Vincent de Paul Society, which also has a co-located with the Flagler Cares now. So I think it's a worthwhile charity, helps local people.
Okay, yeah, I know where they are, yeah. So how do you want me to collect the money and get like a cashier's check for them? Or?
Just give you the money, and I'll.
Okay.
Listen,
Sounds good.
I'll get the deduction on my income.
Let's not talk about handing money between people.
Well, this is a charity.
We should take a, we should take a picture. I do have a little trophy for you as our March Madness champion. So when we come next meeting with our checks.
Is it a wrestling belt?
No, although that would have been a good idea.
Is that all from you, Ty? Vice Mayor?
Yes, I have a few things. Thank you, Mayor. A couple events this weekend I want to do a shout out for. The Flagler County Historical Society is putting on their Bunnell History event, and they'll be unveiling the Bunnell mural over by the old courthouse. It is looking awesome. Definitely come out for that. I believe it starts at 10 a.m., but I don't think they're doing the unveiling until like noon. But they have it on their Facebook page, and it's listed as an event on Facebook. So definitely look up that event. That'll be really cool. And then Smart is having their outdoor concert series at the Elks at noon on Sunday. So definitely go check that out. As far as business is concerned, we had a public comment earlier, City Manager, from Dennis McDonald about the elimination, or I guess the implementation of the Chief of Staff position and the Assistant City Manager, which we've now retermed Deputy City Manager. As we are looking at, as we're getting into budget cycle and we're looking at potentially hiring a new Deputy City Manager, I would like to know what that history is. I wasn't aware that those positions basically started getting implemented underneath Denise Bevan. I don't recall that.
So I got a little bit of history to share on that. So actually, Matt Morton appointed both Lauren Johnson and Denise Bevan as assistant city managers during his tenure. Prior to their appointment, Jim Landon appointed Bo Falgut as assistant city manager as well.
Okay.
And Oel Wingo was the first assistant city manager appointed by Dick Kelton. And not long ago, we have since struck the chief of staff position from our roles.
Right, and that was my recollection, that we did have a history of the assistant city manager. So I appreciate you clarifying that. So, okay, thank you for that.
So you said that was the first city manager, right?
The first city manager had an assistant city manager.
So there's been one since the incorporation of the city. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I think what maybe the confusion is we actually had two, essentially. We had an assistant and a deputy, right? Or vice, whatever.
Sounds like we had two, quote, assistant city managers, and I think what happened is one of those was changed to the chief of staff.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we're looking at now, we're not looking at hiring two people right now.
No, sir.
No, just one.
Yes, sir.
We're not going to revert to the chief of staff position, strictly a replacement for the deputy city manager.
Okay, and then thank you for clarifying that. Tonight we had the presentation of the 25-year ICMI recognition, and then we kind of skipped over that really quickly because I know we were running a minute late to get the actual business meeting started. But I do want to take a moment and recognize that we did have in this building for that presentation one of our very first city council members, Bill Venny, and then we also had our very first city manager, Dick Kelton. So wanted to just thank those gentlemen for their service to the city. I've had the opportunity to encounter them at a few things recently throughout the city, and I just really appreciate them still being in the community, and appreciate a lot of the things that they put into place that we are still relying on today. So a lot of insight and forward thinking from those gentlemen, and so I just want to recognize them, thank them for being here tonight, and also thank them for their service to our community. And then the last thing, we don't need to make a decision on this tonight if it needs to be a presentation, but I wanted to just throw out to the council a suggestion of putting the consent agenda at the beginning of the meeting. I ask this because the county does it this way, and the reason is a lot of times we have staff kind of hanging around only because they have items on the consent agenda, and it's not maybe so much of a big deal during the morning meetings, but for the night meetings, it's 8:30 at night, and we've got staff that's hanging around only because they have items on the consent agenda. So I know we could, many of them would probably like to get back to work during the day when we have the morning meetings rather than hanging around for our meetings just for consent. So if, maybe I don't know if it needs to be a further discussion, if you all want to think about it and come back, but I just wanted to kind of make that suggestion.
So I just wanted to say from my time on the school board, we also did the consent agenda first. And I thought it worked well because if I had an issue with an agenda item, I could pull it to the main agenda and have a discussion on it without having to undo it. Kind of at the towards the end of the meeting. So I've seen it work well, and I was a guy that was always pulling stuff down, especially on construction projects for the school district. But it works, right? It works.
I think it's
either way.
I think it's a valid point, because I was on this
I
county
have
for a
no
long
problem
time.
with it.
I don't, to me personally, it doesn't matter either way, and there's a valid reason to switch it, then I'm good with it.
It can kind of, I think the point being, sometimes staff members are just sticking around for one of the consent items that we know are going to go pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And so it does probably save some staff time.
Staff, give me a north-south if you agree with that. You'd like it to be up front? There's a second, okay.
Second from the
Do we have to
gallery.
do anything official, Marcus, or do we just change?
Yeah, I'll come back and update your policy procedures.
Okay, no worries.
All right, thank you for consensus on that.
Anything else?
That's all I got. Thank you.
Nothing.
Councilman Gambaro? Okay. Helena, please come up. I think at least a few of us have engaged with Helena as far as the FOFA from the CFO of the state. And our big concern was where our city fell within this methodology that they're using. Some of us were there. I think at least 3 of us were there, and I was sitting right up front. So if he was going to beat the city up, I was going to be the one taking those punches. Can you run through and tell us where we stand, Helena?
So what we have done is to apply the same type of formula that would include the index of growth in the city's population and the same consumer price index increase that was outlined in the report, and the city of Palm Coast for the general fund was within 5% of the calculation. So your approved city council budget was higher by 5% of the calculated number, using a formula for inflation, population, and inflation.
And you did not account, I would assume that you did not account for the buffer that I had found in some of their methodologies. You didn't include a buffer.
No, sir. I did strict numbers of population from April of 2019, which would have been our estimate for the budget year of 2019 to 2020, and our estimates of population for April 1st, 2025, which would have been what we would have used for the budget year of 2025, 2026.
Okay. So Helena went through, and basically in layman's terms, using that methodology alone, and you can argue the methodology all you want, you can argue, whatever, but our city has seen significant increase in our ad valorem property taxes since 2019. Our ad valorem in 2019 was how much, Helena? 26, 27?
About 26 million.
26, and this past year, we were at 67, correct?
No, so for ad valorem,
That's our
that's a
general
portion of the general fund, so.
Take away all the other stuff, strictly from ad valorem, how much?
43.
How much?
43.
43, okay.
And so Mr. Mayor, I also did that same calculation just for ad valorem, rather than including sales tax and gas tax and some other things that we don't even vote on. And it comes out to, it's less than 5% in terms of percentage. It gets us roughly to like 41.5, and ours was 43.
Yeah.
Helena, what was the millage rate in 2019?
4.689.
And what's the millage rate now?
4.0893.
So we've gone
down.
significantly lower by 5 mils. I mean,
We're lower than anybody else,
yes.
in the county or, anywhere.
In the state,
I,
in terms of our size.
Mr. Mayor, I'm glad that you're bringing this up, but I will tell, so for the public's benefit, this council sat with Blaze in Tallahassee, okay? The 5 of us sat there, and Councilman Miller asked him, we went, kind of back of the napkin math. We went through it, and he looked at all of us and said, I think you guys are in good shape.
So this is just about transparency and letting the city know where we stand, because there's a lot of chatter out there about it. There's a lot of people say, well, he don't know what the hell he's talking about. It's a methodology that was developed by this James Madison Institute, right? If I'm not mistaken?
I think originally it's coming from the state of Colorado or something like that.
Well, he did mention at the meeting that there's two states, I think Utah and Colorado, if I'm not
Colorado, I know
mistaken,
is one of them.
that use that as their benchmark, and he says it's very effective. So I'm not going to beat up on the CFO, because to me personally, and I had mentioned this to the vice mayor, I think we were on the dais when I mentioned about Nassau County at 27 million or whatever, and then he and I follow him on X, so I've been seeing a lot of his posts for a long time now, and he was talking about St. Petersburg, and he said St. Petersburg misused all that additional revenue coming into the city for more bureaucracy instead of taking care of their infrastructure. And I'm of the mindset that we've done the same thing. And if you look at the growth in our number of employees since 2019, I still can't figure out how we increased our number of city employees during pretty much a recessionary period and during COVID, when other companies were drawing down. We increased our total number of employees over that time, which it's on us to fix it, but I can't go back in time and fix it. But for us, basically, Helena, we overspent, using that calculation, $3.3 million this past budget cycle, correct?
So using that calculation, we would have been over by approximately 5%. I believe it's around the 5 million mark.
Is that total between 2019 and 2020?
No, that's just comparison of
Just the difference
20
right now.
to now.
That would have been the adopted budget for fiscal year 19-20 versus the adopted budget for fiscal year 25-26. So the year that we're operating in.
The budget that this council approved in this past October.
But
when we were fighting about rolling back another.
It's less than 5 though, because if the number is
Well, I think-
76 and we're at 5%, then it's 3 million, something like that.
3.3 or 3.4 is what I came up with.
Yeah.
So, but we're getting ready to roll into the.
And to your point, Mr. Mayor, in terms of bureaucracy versus infrastructure, we added an extra $1 million to this year's budget for roads specifically, restricted to road use. So of that 3, we're talking 1 went straight to roads.
But coming in, we're getting ready to start our SAP. We're going to have our individual meetings starting tomorrow, I think, if I'm not is it Thursday? I think I'm tomorrow. But we need to look, I would like, when I was looking at the total, I would like us to cut our ad valorem, which is strictly from property tax, around $8 to $10 million. That's what I would like to do. And that's just one thing. Another thing that I want when we start talking about the SAP is consideration of selling that Southern Recreation Center. And people go, oh no. Well, the Southern Recreation Center, we've already had this discussion within, me and the city manager and stuff. The Southern Recreation Center is a drain on our money. It is. It's going to be a bigger drain. We've been talking about the golf course, but the Southern Recreation is a bigger drain. And to me, the Southern Recreation Center is not a true recreation center. It is a racket center, plain and simple. And me personally, you can cuss me all you want, but to me, tennis and pickleball, those are bougie sports. That is, the high number of population of kids in our city are not running down to the Southern Recreation Center. So if we can market that Southern Recreation Center and sell it and gain back those revenues, let somebody else that wants to manage that kind of facility do it, not the city. Because I think we're at like $850,000 a year annually for that facility. So that's one thing I'd like to look at. we had that presentation for the clinic, us coming on board to go with the county with that clinic. I talked to the sheriff, and each one of you, I won't put words in the sheriff's mouth, but he left that for a reason. And I don't think our city needs to get caught up in it.
Respectfully, Mayor, though, he also went to a health insurance program that the employees don't really like. So I'm gonna speak up on that one because I understand that one person, and I care very deeply about what Sheriff Staley's input is on things, but I don't know that we should be making a decision based on what one person says about the clinic.
Well, we can run an analysis of it, but to me, we already have a very, very good healthcare plan for our employees. Top rated, top 75% percentile, I would say. So you're in top tier. But I would not want to add on another $1 million to our budget just for a clinic that are planning on expanding and getting larger, and someone's going to have to cover that cost.
Savings with that, though.
Yeah, that's what, I mean, so let me put it this way, Mr. Mayor. I'm not on board with an extra $1 million in terms of that cost. I thought we were looking at that to see if it would be cheaper than what we're currently doing. So, I support that, not spending extra money.
Yeah. We need to look at that. And also,
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah.
Give me a second. Do we still need Mrs. Alves?
Huh?
Do we still need Helena up here?
No, Helena, you're
Thank
good.
you.
Well, I got what I needed. I extracted what I needed out of you, Helena.
Respectfully, you're throwing a lot out about the budget that I think generally we all are, particularly with regards to the CFO's visit, we all are wanting to see what we can do to engage in cost savings. But this is a more appropriate discussion for an agenda item when we're talking about SAP.
Well, I wanted to get this out to everyone because we're getting ready to start our individual meetings as far as the SAP is concerned with staff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I just wanted everyone to know what I'm thinking. So I don't see us going to that clinic thing. I don't think it's going to be in our best interest. And I also think when we were presented last year, the health savings plans, when they presented that to us, saying if you converted a health savings plan for all incoming new employees, you save $2 million a year. And we just brushed that aside. Then we hit the annual enrollment period in July, so we missed the mark on doing that change. And I think we should. We currently have 174 employees that are part of that health savings plan. And if we do an analysis to see exactly how much money that's going to save our city, I think we should do it. But these are things we need to be looking at. There's another one on here, but I really can't mention that one. That's more of a city manager issue. But I just wanted you guys to have my thoughts on going into this budget cycle, what we need to do. Because this last year, when we increased those rates for water, that hit the people in our city really hard. And if you think about our population growth and our population growth from 2019 to now, and how much money the increase in our ad valorem coming into this city, it's hard to justify it. It's hard to justify it, especially when we tack on another $330 million to the city debt for issues that should have been taken care of along the way. And it was a lot of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And there was another one, I think about the CRA, when me and John were talking, money that went to the CRA from the utility fund, that I didn't even know anything about that one. The only thing I knew about was Old Kings Road. So these are just things that I want us as a council to be considering. And that full millage rollback that you wanted to do last year, Councilman Gambaro, we need to be looking at that this year. So we got a lot of stuff to work on, and we're just getting. When do we start the budget? When are our first budget cycle meetings, other than the SAP?
Usually like May, maybe next month.
And for the record, I don't like this new thing. I like having paper in front of me when I'm in meetings.
Me too.
Can we have consensus on that real quick?
It's a cost saving.
That we still get paid.
It's also staff time. I know Allison spends an incredible amount of time
Yeah, you're looking in the May timeframe, but
Okay.
also for next year's budget season, I'm going to be proposing some changes because staff really needs to know much earlier in the game what council's priorities, focus, vision, and direction is going to be for the upcoming year. So it's very early to talk about, projected cuts, whether it's personnel or whether it's specific projects, because every single position and every single salary line item and every single project is worked through a budget process, whether it was this council or one previous. So
Yeah.
that's one thing I think we definitely need to do next year is we need to do SAP a good deal earlier.
Well, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. Because I know what's going to come from the state. If they do anything with ad valorem, and I've had this conversation with a few of you, Marcus, city manager, if the state says we're going to cut $10 million from your ad valorem, that's going to be devastating to this city. So we need to cut and trim, become as efficient as possible. And my takeaway from the CFO and some of the people in Tallahassee is either you consolidate down, regroup, and reevaluate, or you become irrelevant. So that's what you're going to have to do. So we got a lot of work to do. This really, three people are leaving. This is a lame duck council, but we need to do the best we can for this city, for this budget cycle coming up. And
Well, I mean, okay, so it's not a lame duck council. There's a lot of things that
No
will
way,
have
we've
to
got a lot
get
of stuff to
done.
do.
I'm just saying we're not continuing on together after this budget cycle. This will be a new
That's
council.
stating the obvious, but I agree that we should always be trying to achieve rollback. I would like to see as a part of maybe the initial meetings with regarding SAP, but also the initial budget meeting. I know we have very healthy reserves. I would like to see what we have in reserves versus what is standard and required for us to have in reserves pursuant to our policy. What would affect our bond rating, all of those things, because I want to make sure that if we do incur some cut, which I don't think Tallahassee's going to pass anything with regards to property taxes this year, and then it would have to be a referendum. I just don't think it's going to happen. But if it does happen, would we have sufficient reserves for that first year to kind of, subsume? Right, exactly. So I think that needs to be an analysis as a part of the very first budget meetings that we have.
I would agree. I think we're going to be under a tremendous amount of pressure and seeing what comes out of the legislature. And they're going to have another special session. When are they coming back in?
20 April redistricting.
And they still didn't do anything with SB 180.
They're not going to either.
That was kicked down.
That's going to stay.
So we also need to have the discussion if we need to reevaluate.
It went farther.
Getting into that lawsuit with the other municipalities that are suing the state on that one.
Mayor, I do want to just point out too, because so the residents know exactly what we've been dealing with as far as finances. Keep in mind, we had to transfer $2.5 million basically into the impact fee fund to pay for 2 fire stations because we were not getting enough impact fees from into our fire, to pay for those. So we've rectified that problem, obviously. We're being sued by the HBA for it, and I'm going to keep saying it as much as I can because we're talking about cuts. Let me just provide a big picture here, okay, for the people that are suing us. We are talking about cuts that detrimentally affect our quality of life and at the same time being sued because we are trying to allow development to pay for itself. So just so everybody understands that landscape, it's very frustrating if you can't hear it from my tone of voice. I think we need to look at the bigger picture and see what is really affecting our residents. And honestly, yes, government has grown, but government has grown because of the incredible population influx we got after COVID. Should they be growing together and on the same tracks, going the same way at the same pace? Arguably, yes. But we know that impact fees were not keeping up. So we have rectified that. But that's half of what that amount is, right? That's $2.5 million of the $5 million or the $3.5 million that we're really talking about. So when we look at it in that scope, we have actually been very good fiscally with what we've had to deal with. So I want to just, provide that kind of overarching posterity that I think is important.
I think when Helena finished up the numbers, and I had some other people, they were a little bit higher. I think they had like 4 point. People did up the spreadsheet and put the calculations in, so you could put in the numbers and they
Just
come out.
depends on the population.
But I wanted it from our finance, my finance guru, Helena, to show us specifically where we're at. And I don't think we're in a bad spot. If we were, we would have been beat up that day.
Yeah, he wouldn't have come to Flagler County and skipped us if he had a reason to beat us up.
But I don't think people should be beating up on the CFO. Okay, he's campaigning, but also he's providing a metric for you to say, okay, you need to tighten up. And I can't fault him for that. You know, I can't.
Without a statutory mandate to do so, and it'd also probably be better served if he would focus on his core tasks. One of them being the insurance cost that we pay as citizens. So I respectfully agree. I agree with the premise, but I'm not necessarily sure if I agree with the method.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's kind of like a chainsaw to do surgery.
Yeah.
Kind of methodology there. However, having a baseline of fiscal conservatism is good.
Always a good thing.
No, I don't think.
And we've been on record since day one that we're always focused on cost recovery. As a council, we've all agreed to that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have made the tough decisions to invest in our infrastructure for the future while maintaining ad valorem taxes as low as they are.
Yeah.
And so, but because of that, right, both on the utility side and on the impact fee side, I'm kind of where I was in September on the rollback. I'm in the same place, and so it's worth having a discussion, and I think this is good. We don't often get to have this dialogue that kind of, helps staff kind of set the table for us. But
Clarity, we never talk about this stuff outside of this.
no, we
We'll never
don't.
get
I mean,
this
I'm saying outside other meetings.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
Well, and what I noticed when you take away from our overall budget, when you take away the bond and all that, and then you say, okay, what's left over? It's okay. Well, I think I took it down to like 366 without the bond, but then you, what was I going to say? But you're shifting that burden away from ad valorem, to a bond, which is going to cost people in rates. So it's robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's just, people have to understand we have a lot of pots of money, a lot of different pots, and it's Mr. Amaral. It gets quite frustrating since you're running for city council, just so you know, like a million pots. But I think that's where I stand, and I think that once we roll in this budget cycle, nobody up here does not call themselves a conservative. And conservatives try to conserve, and that's what we're going to continue to do. I'm happy with the last year's budget, and I'm happy that we only show a little over 3, but we could have rolled back that 3, but it would have cost us in other areas. That's all I have. Anything else, Mr. Attorney Man? You got anything, Mr. City Manager?
Yes, sir. I want to say thanks to Mr. Kyle Berryhill for stepping up as our interim deputy city manager. As you know, that position is out on the street, is an open position. It's going to be open to field, but projecting probably be open about a month to get us a good cross-section of candidates. So just want to thank Mr. Berryhill for stepping up and looking forward to work through this process.
And also thank you to Chief Clark for stepping into Chief Berryhill's position temporarily. So
Chief Berryhill, you're wearing an orange tie.
Orange and blue.
You better get you a Florida State.
Go Gators.
There you go. Move to adjourn.
Everybody have a good night.
Good night.